Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Did that animation play really smooth for y'all, or was that as terrible as it looked on my end? How's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. It is the 6th of the 7th of the 23rd. My name is Andre, and it's really hot out there. I reckon it is where you are too. We hit real high temperatures. It was like 41 degrees. That's like, I don't know, 104, 105 in American units. It was pretty bad. Yeah. I think my computer might just be melting. Cror, how's it going? It sure looked bad. um, yeah, no, yeah, my camera, my webcam just wasn't registering right before the stream. I had to restart my whole machine. So like, I don't know. It's held together by prayer. So hopefully it goes okay. I thought no stream today. Hey, Seabass, did I get my days mixed up? Only a bit. So there will be no stream next week. We streamed on this Sunday for like 7 hours plus, but there will be no stream next week because that was the makeup stream for the next week. So we're not going to be there. That being said, we'll have a video. I actually had to record a video twice. I've been working on this video talking about the timing structure and paid ability windows and conditional abilities and all this stuff. And I recorded one earlier this week and it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I decided I gotta put my foot down, buddy. You gotta re-record it. You can make it shorter. I believe in you, man. It doesn't have to be longer than Citizen Kane. And so I redid it and now it's less than 2 hours. That'll be up on Sunday. So at least there's enough content to watch while I'm not here. I'm so sorry. There's so much to talk about. I don't know how to make it less than 2 hours. Priority. Hey, Stab Tabby. Hey, Metro Stream. Yo, Yakubo. Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for the YouTube comments. You're always writing nice comments on the videos and the streams. I appreciate it. Funny Torador music. Why Carmen? Why not? Yeah, accurately. How's it going, Magnet? Wolf Rat. Why not Carmen? It is probably copyright by to some extent, but the version I have is cleared. All the music here is cleared for streaming. I pay for that privilege. So that version, which I believe is by the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra, is cool to go. I don't know if you can copyright. Can you copyright Carmen? It's like that old. I don't know if you can copyright stuff that old. Maybe that's pretty short-sighted on my side. And hey, Jessica, had a lot of fun catching up with the Sunday stream. Glad you enjoyed it. I had a great time. You know, in terms of like Netrunner, we got absolutely bodied for like 7 hours straight, just getting dunked on, constantly dunked on. I was getting salty, but like still having a good time. Hopefully we hold out. Hey, Andrew, how's it going? Happy Friday morning, grabbing a live show for the first time in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. How's the weekend looking? West Coast Nats, save the date on ABR. Yeah, Richard, that's the one that's like beginning of September, right? Hey, Scrub, hello, Mr. Streamer Scrub, how's it going? Hey, Cat, how's it going? It's going okay. Citizen Kane, Timing Windows, the movie. It's like I wish I could do it as fast as I could. I really could. I could be like, here's a 10-minute video where I explain timing windows. But at that point, why don't you just read the document really quickly, you know? That's why you're asking about the charts on a GLC. Exactly, Cold Lava. Because I shouted out and I'm like, I don't know who to shout out. This chart is sick. I wish I could know how to get people these timing cards that have like the timing window. Have you all seen these? These are really nice. So apparently these are group effort, but there's like these 3 separate cards that walk through the entire timing structure of the turns, of the runs, of everything with all the paid ability windows. And I always have these on me when I go to an event, just so if I mess it up or my opponent has any questions, obviously call a judge, but like we can produce them, which is really good. Keep thinking it'd be fun to do vids on the intricacies of NR rules. Then I realized how long the vids would be. Yeah, that's a problem, Cror. Like they just get long. They really do get long. Hey, Augustus, how's it going? You should have a 20-minute interval in your vid like they do in Lawrence Arabia. I'm not sure if I have. I think I might have a DVD of Lawrence Arabia somewhere. I haven't seen it. You said you were sick today. Hey, Pat. Normally the top of the month is a Pat stream. We're about to go on holiday, so it's a bit of a mess here. And there's no spoilers. So I thought we'll get a Pat stream in when we come back later this month, which probably will have new cards to talk about. Maybe. I'm not sure, but maybe. So we'll see Pat then. Hopefully you're doing fine, bud. I'm excited about 2 Hour Reels video for some reason. Hey, that's good to hear. Those games were rough, some very close though. We lost twice where we would have won next turn if they missed the agenda. Yeah, some of them we got really unlucky. We had some bad matchups. I think obviously some of them we just didn't play correctly. There was better lines to play, but like learning decks, I don't feel bad about that. But yeah, no, we could have done better. I was surprised enough at the Sunday stream, even more surprised that I had time to go to my LGS, still do housework and Discovery were still going. I'm surprised timing structure doesn't exist at little cards that like SG would have for rules. Yeah, I think those are things people would want, but like it's kind of the community's been distributing them at events, so hopefully y'all can get your hands on them. They're really good. They're really good. The orchestra performing it or people that commission would own it, I think. I'm assuming the orchestra that performed it owned it, but then because their music is up on the licensing side, they probably have signed it away to some financial agreement that made sense. A short version of a rules video could be taking a look at one interesting turn where a few odd things happen, or even one run going through some odd ice interactions. Yeah, but then you never explain all of it. Like, firstly, you have to explain, like, okay, this is what a conditional ability is. Conditional abilities are this. They exist in something called reaction windows. Firstly, you have to understand what priority is. Understanding priority, you have to figure out what the active player is. Then you understand that you have to trigger your optional and your non-optional abilities, but in conditional ability timing windows, the active player has to go first and resolve all their abilities. Then they pass priority, and then the inactive player has to do all the conditional abilities. When it comes to a conditional ability trigger, you don't pass back and forth like when it comes to paid ability windows. It's only a first come first serve, but you have to do your stuff first, then you pass, and then you don't return pass. All right, now welcome to the timing. Like, it's hard. And you start talking about timing paid ability windows, and then you have to understand, like, oh, this one is a paid ability window where you can only do basic paid abilities. Let's tell you what those are. And then you can res non-ice cards. You can't score agenda zone this one because this is after the discard phase. Like, it gets crunchy. I've been really into it. I've been really into it. Probably been overwhelming in the gateway when learning. Yeah, the thing is, like, and that's actually a really big thing, is I've been trying to get examples of cards and interactions that are like gateway or startup appropriate, of like, here's a cool interaction when it comes to like paid ability windows. And there are some really important cards when it comes to paid ability windows in startup. Or like Stone Ship Chart Room is like, you could not ask for a better card when it comes to explaining when you can and can't fire this thing, because this thing is like a quintessential, universally applicable basic paid ability. So it's good they have this, but like there are literally no paid ability window tricks in all of System Gateway. There's none besides Spin Doctor, I think. Literally none. So all the paid abilities you're doing are like the basic paid abilities that people don't realize are paid abilities, like rezzing ice, breaking subroutines, scoring agendas. I think there is literally nothing else that matters, which is pretty wild. So like, it doesn't even make sense within System Gateway, but as soon as you go to a bigger card pool, understanding when can you draw 2 cards, when do you have priority, that's actually kind of neat. So the whole video goes on for a long time. Probably be a bit overwhelming, excuse me. It is important. So something small that only encompasses potential SG jank would probably suffice. Random question. How do y'all find tournaments in your vicinity? I live dead center US, so the coast stuff is kind of far. Wolfrat, you can do 2 things. You can go to Green Level Clearance Discord and ask around. I do believe they have sub-channels that are based upon your communities, so you can find someone there to be like, oh, I'm also in Arkansas or whatever part of the world you're in. And they'll say like, oh, there's an event here, so and so and so on. There's 2 other really good things. One of them is you can go to alwaysberunning.net, excuse me. Not all tournaments go up here, but a lot of people will post tournaments, so you can go find out what's in your local vicinity. This looks is pretty Canadian heavy, but if you go to upcoming, you can search by country, and then you can find something that seems reasonable enough for you to travel. The last way, and this is probably the most powerful way, especially if you're in a smaller meta, because mostly that's going to be meetups, but Null Signal Games, if you go to their website and you go to the players section, if I'm not mistaken, you can go to the community subsection here, and there's a bunch of sub-communities, so you can go to like United States of America, we're assuming, and then you can say like, oh, I live in, I don't know, Indiana, Iowa. I live in Iowa. And then they'll be like, oh, at this store, we do this. Here's a Discord link, stuff like that. That's usually the best thing, especially when you live in an area where there's probably not that many people playing. I know the middle of the United States is not very populated. So I would say those 3 do it. And that'll probably get you pretty far. Otherwise, Facebook groups sometimes work. I think Netrunner Geeks or Dorks, whatever they call it, still exists. But those are the ones I recommend to start. Yeah. So something small that only comes as, excuse me, and what you've done in an ASMR video and boom, subscriber numbers skyrocket. Just speak super generally and never go into details. Keep saying there's more to it, but you'll pick it up. That's what you do the timing window. Don't worry, there's more to it, but you'll pick it up. Is there a big flowchart with all the ability windows? At the end of the Null Signal Games rules sheet, there is, I wouldn't say it's a flowchart. It is a list of things that you can read in order. It's good. It's a dry technical document, and I'd argue that there's some parts of this. Actually, hey, you want to get crunchy about this? Because this thing upsets me, and I think this is not intuitive, albeit it is correct. Check this out. So if you go to the bottom of this, the summary pages in the appendix are sick. So we talk about a corpse turn. This is what a corpse turn looks like, okay? This is the closest you have to a flow chart, besides the community-made ones. Hold on, let me just catch them on chat before someone mentions this. Is it Discord? Is that Discord or .com? Discord? To the Discord for GLC is a Discord. So to get that link, I don't know what it is offhand. Someone probably can hit you up with it. But if you just go to nearearthhub.net, this is the website that has so many community resources that will link you. So there's a link to the Green Level Clearance Discord in here. And I always just go here because I never remember what it is. I'm super new, so it'd feel really weird to try doing it myself. Oh no, but you also should do it yourself. Like, for real? I know it's intimidating, hard to do it, but like from what I've heard from everybody, one of the most powerful things you can do is go to your friendly local game store and ask them there, like, hey, do you know anyone who plays Netrunner? And do you mind if I put up a poster that says like, hey, if you're interested in Netrunner, email this, or like join this Discord I've built. And then you'd be like, hey, I'm new to Netrunner. I'm trying to figure out the game out. You want to try and figure out the game with me? And then you can make a meetup, right? Like, that's actually the biggest thing, is that as unique as we all think that we are, there's like dozens of us that are in the exact same situation in the exact same town being like, I wish there was someone who played Netrunner, and they just need the same push that you do as well, right? I'm really behind on chat. Okay, Kona chills. Blizzle, how's it going? Saying he was just there, weren't many around, just trying to find, sorry? Rad, do you live in KC? And if we were popular enough to get 2 consecutive Taylor Swift concerts, there might be something. Kat, thank you for the link. There's a hashtag find local player channel there. Awesome. Okay. This is my rant for now, and let me tell you, I have the utmost respect for the rules document. It is sick. I really like this. But how do you read this chart? Tell me how you read this chart. So this is the action phase and the corpse. This is where you take actions, right? So you have 3 actions. So there's a paid ability window, and then you have an action. And then it looks like if we have none, like, my problem here is that there is a 4th paid ability window after your 3rd click. And I think there is a reading of this that is technically accurate in which you get there, in which you, okay, does the corp event spend clicks? If yes, then the corp takes an action. And then you're not meant to read this line, right? Like BI and BII are meant to be mutually exclusive. That as soon as you read one, you're not meant to read the other one. Unfortunately, I don't read it like that. I read this like this is code or whatever, and you read top down. So I say, okay, this is I have 1 click left. Does the corp have unspent clicks? If yes, the corp takes an action. Sick. Okay, and now I don't, so I go to 3, and we go straight to the discard phase. Technically, once you do BI, you're meant to not address BII, so you're meant to return to A, and so there is that 4th paid ability window, which is a really important one. And then you check again, does the corp have unspent clicks? Now they don't, so now you go to the discard phase. Again, that's accurate. I just feel like that's unintuitive. I don't think people read it like that. I don't read it like that, and I'm a person. Cror says the action phase is terribly structured. It's structured as a do-while loop, which just confuses people. I'm so glad you said that. I do feel the same way. It's structured in a loop that will confuse people all the time. There is a 4th paid ability window in here, and it's such an important one, because if there wasn't a 4th paid ability one, good luck scoring an agenda. You literally can't score an agenda most of the time. So yes, I think this is clever, but too clever. I don't think humans read this in a way that is intuitive. So I don't know. Maybe that can be looked at. It's still there. Hey, Izzy, how's it going? Welcome back to Dry Land. Just joined in. We're looking through the bylaws and rule lawyering up. Thanos, we have a timing window video coming up, and this is just a thing that I wanted to get like a kind of a sanity check here, whether I'm the only one who stumbles upon this or whether everyone stumbles upon this. I've asked a couple people because I had to have it explained to me, and I've got like, oh yeah, that probably shouldn't be like that results. Try to find where PRS are defined. They're not defined anywhere besides the video, which, yeah, I don't think they're actually defined anywhere. Oh, no, I do think in the sections above, they do say bracket P. It's just like, it's a very different part of the document than this part, right? Hold on. I think we should go up. Match up. They are defined. Yeah, you see all the way up here. It's like, I don't know, only dozens of pages above, but they are technically there. So with this document, paid ability windows are marked with a symbol P. I do think there should be a legend much closer to the actual section 11 at the bottom, but they are in there. I wouldn't get to the 4th paid ability window from that chart. Yeah, okay. So we're on the same page here. Like, easy fix, I reckon. Again, I don't want to be too critical about this document because it is literally a Herculean effort, and it does function. I just feel like that is the thing that probably most people bounce off of. I want to meet someone whose first language is Python. Oh, man. That's funny. Maybe there should be different timing window documents depending on whether your first language is English, Python, Java. For the most part, magic logic works in this game, but the fact that the thing reads like a car manual physically hurts me. I think overall, actually, like the bulk of this document is written in a way that I think is very, very comprehensible, even if you're not like a card person. And there's also, it's like entirely peppered with really good practical examples. Like, why am I so zoomed in weirdly? Like this one, example, if this happens, what happens? And they tell you how to do it. I think more rules documents should have that. I think examples are the easiest way to learn because sometimes, yeah, it can get a bit terse. Terse is not the right word. Duncan, how's it going? Just got back to Netrunner after year breaks and watched all the party and tier lists. Great videos, fun to catch you live. Welcome back to the game. You've picked an exciting part to kick back in on. We have some new cards coming out this summer. It's a competitive season. Organized play is in full swing. Thank you for the kind videos, or for the kind words about the videos. Hopefully you're doing well. All right, we gotta play some Netrunner though. So in part, the action phase is done that way. It is because they were trying to ensure terminal operations worked properly and cut off the final paid ability window, but there are better ways. Oh, that is true, because if a terminal hits there, you don't get the final paid ability window, so it goes straight out of the action phase. I don't see why that's necessary though, because terminals say just end your action phase. So even if you wrote literally wrote the paid ability window after that, you would never get there, right? If I were redesigning Netrunner, I'd really simplify the timing, both structure of the turn and also the weird magic phrases that let someone triggered abilities happen in the middle of other abilities. I'm not a magic person, so I don't know how bad it is, but you're right. There are nested triggers that happen, but I think they're pretty intuitive and probably simpler than magic, but I have been studying it for a while now, so I hear you. I think the one thing that bothers me maybe the most is that, like, obviously asymmetric game, but there's 3 phases in a corp turn, and there's 2 phases in a runner turn, and the difference is 1 line of text. Oh, we're digging back into it. Hey, 1 second. Hey, Maddie. Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. I normally close that door, and the air conditioning is getting trapped in this room because that door is closed. So it is hella hot in the rest of the apartment. Maddie just came in and said, "What the heck are you doing?" Oh, she said she's had a night. She did. But like, reality check for Andre over here in his cold heaven. New tier list soon, TM. Yeah, Nemrop, I would hope so. Okay. I mean, anything is simpler than the stack. I just mean, like, if an ability is do X, then do Y, triggered ability from X should happen after Y, so you don't have to keep track of where on the card you were, not as in Magic the Game. Triggered ability from X should happen after Y? But shouldn't X happen before Y? Because you have to do X, then you have to do Y? Cite all the rules required for snare to work. Good luck. Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's impossible. We both know it. This is exactly what we didn't want to happen. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep in the rules. We'll let the other rules thing lie. I think the phases should be symmetrical. There's no reason for there to be 2 different phases. Both turns could have the same amount of phases. That's all I'm saying. This might be too hard to explain over Twitch chat. Maybe. Rules. It's hard. As an X, doing something causes a different effect to trigger. It just works. You don't need the rules. There's like some really frustrating things that show up in. I think Netrunner has actually been the one that I've been getting the least sort of like, oh, that way that it works is actually frustrating, as opposed to some other card games. Like, I don't know if you played the rules of, if you play rules as written in other card games like Arkham Horror or like Lord of the Rings, where it's like, if there's an effect that says you must choose, then you have to choose something that you can fully do the effect of. So if something says like you have to exhaust all your characters, but if one of your characters is already exhausted, you can't do that, even though you would assume that you could do as much of it as possible as long as it does some amount of chain board state. So then you end up into situations where like a card comes out and it basically doesn't have a choice on it because you can realistically never do the choice. I feel like Netrunner has way less of that, where it's like the actual way it plays out is so frustratingly different than you think it would be. Okay. I think I get what you mean, Izzy. Like, the card's entire effect should finish before we manage any triggers. Oh, okay. Op stuff like board control into an enemy breaks, I think I'm against anything that makes op worse. Or like, try to explain the timing of op and Rococo. The timing of Ak and Rococo, I think, also doesn't make sense to me because it violates what I believe is called the checkpoint rule, and I'm worried I get that wrong in my video. So again, highlight in the comments what I got wrong, but the sort of idea to me where a conditional ability won't fire unless the card that cares about the condition ability was res to experience the condition it cares about, I'm worried that actually isn't true. But that's the sort of thing where if you use op to like trash a 3 cost when turn starts beginning trigger to get a 2 coster that also has a when turn starts beginning trigger, that 2 coster's when turn starts beginning trigger won't fire because that card wasn't there for the checkpoint of when turn starts. But I really worry that a whole bunch of the op nonsense does break that. Op definitely makes the problem more than any other card. Yeah. The problem with that step tabby is that once one of the effects on cards like make a run, you really do not want gain 3 credits make a run to not resolve triggers from the gain 3 until after the run. I'll be going through your video with clipboard and pen, Andre. You'll be provided grade. You know, Crow are actually really into it. Like, I expect the comment to be like, this is inaccurate, and then I'll just pin that. It'll be sick. I'm now all in favor of Director's Edition 4-hour timing window video. It's like, I don't even think I'm the most capable person to talk about it. Like, I had to learn a bunch. And so, like, my editorial process doesn't exist. And so now I'm kind of stressed, but it'll be good enough. Way too dank. Okay, let's talk about this deck list. We talked about this deck list a bit on the weekend. So there's a narrative here. Firstly, Sokka, the world champion from Vancouver, is on tour, showing up in some places in Europe, and it looks like he showed up in the Nordics, and they had a tournament that actually welcomed in. It had a really big show out, which is really cool. And then 2 players from the same testing group, both world-class players, Bridgman and Sokka, agreed to come to the tournament and represent decks that are largely considered to be underpowered and unmeta. So Spark Agency was the one Bridgman got on the Corp side. On the other Corp side we played on the weekend, it was not Precog Manifold, Hyobu Institute that Sokka played. I think the deck is really interesting. And the Spark Agency deck is basically just a Spark Agency deck. And we actually ended up playing against it on the weekend. I feel like my computer is running slow. I wonder if we're really overheating here. But Spark Agency is an ability that actually, for timing reasons, I also kind of detest. Because this says the first time each turn you res an advertisement, the runner loses a credit. And so this becomes, mind you, as you will find out on the weekend, you can res a non-ice card at basically every paid ability window in the entire game, largely, is that in theory, before every single action that the runner takes, they have to ask you, is there something you want to do? Because if they think they're just on autopilot and they're just going to do like credit, install, you can interrupt them. Which means, again, as long as you haven't rezzed an advertisement this turn, they have to ask you at every single damn window. And it sucks. It's super tedious, so I never liked this ability. I do think the cooler cards for Spark Agency have rotated out through the time. There was a really cool 0-cost upgrade that was just really good fun. It was an easy thing to trigger. So now all we got is assets. And what do these assets do? They just give you a lot of money. How do we win off of money? This 3 copies of hard-hitting news, and then we hope they can't clear the tags. So this is exactly the same sort of deck where, like, I think if the runner doesn't tilt and like just doesn't interact with the board, the only way we can score out is honestly behind the 7 ice in the deck, which, like, I'm super pessimistic about this whole idea. If you ask me, Spark Agency's ability, like, how often does it fire in a game? Maybe we're really lucky it fires 6 or 7 times. So the runner clicklessly loses 6 to 7 credits. How often or how much damage do you do when the runner has to clear 2 tags from controlling the message? They have to spend 4 credits and 2 clicks. Is that equal or better than 6 to 7 credits? I'd argue it's much better than 6 to 7 credits. So this is obviously, we're not trying to prove that Spark Agency is a bad ability. I think that was kind of understood considering we ended up playing this ability. But like, if you're just trying to tax people out, sure, you have 3 more influence, but like, why not just play CTM? That was not the challenge here. So we just basically have a CTM deck, but with a lot more advertisements. I think the only really unfair thing we have is an Amani Sanai. So we have a massive credit lead and agenda scored or stolen. We can return something to hand. But literally, if the runner sits back and just has a strong economy, I don't know how we're going to score out behind maybe Eula is the best dice we have. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, product placement was really good. Let me catch up on chat. Opera Coco works because the cost pay checkpoint happens before the move counter effect. Oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't have to talk about op in the video. Test to confirm you were a competent rules moderator somewhere. There isn't, Thanos. There is no judge testing in Netrunner. If you want to be a judge, you can just be a judge until like your local community overthrows you because you've been really bad at it. I think there's going to be like, I wouldn't say approval process, but like for bigger NSG events, I reckon someone has to sign off on it, but that's just kind of how it is. Yeah, there's nothing official. I've seen some stuff come out of GLC over time. It's a thing I've been kind of collecting notes for in the background. I'd be really excited to do that. To do a judge test, because I have largely been doing a lot of judge calls at like very casual events locally. I'm playing in the tournament, so like, you know, it kind of feels like there's a bit of a bias there. I don't make calls in my games, but I also never make judge mistakes. Yeah, but it is like, I don't know, at least in casual events, my basic rule is just try and keep the game going if you can. My actual ruling on are you a competent rules moderator thing is twofold. Can you search through a PDF quickly, and are you willing to admit you made a mistake and don't know? Yeah, that sounds good. How did Zealous Judge get banned? Oh, Zealous Judge was out of line. I do feel like my computer's running really poorly right now. Yeah, it's really warm. All right, well, let's go. So we just have a bunch of advertisements. We're going to be mashing that indicate action button like nobody's business. I think JNet also was pretty laggy in the last couple of days. Let's hope it's a bit better now. Monka is running hot. Oh my God, it's bad. Yeah, it's been really bad around here. New corp deck. CTM won a big event this weekend. It was a circuit opener, but it was like it was the one in Connecticut, as they say it. Good search skills and honesty sounds good. It's the same thing as if you want to work in like programming. If you can just Google it really good, nobody knows. You're a genius. I'm experiencing my first July winter and it's bizarre. Ooh, as in Southern Hemisphere? That is definitely the correct pronunciation. I like clearly know that I pronounced something radically wrong, but at this point of the Twitch delay, I don't even know what I agreed was incorrect. Kit won an event. I think Jeff made his opinion. I think Jeff made his opinion so clear at last night's stream. I caught up most of the VOD last night after. Yeah. yeah, we're gonna try something like that today. I don't know if it's gonna be Kit, but I want to play some Shaper Economy because we haven't done that in a minute. Play some prepaid, play some Onacom, get some card draw. It's gonna be nice. Favorite? Oh, I said Connecticut like that. Like yeah, okay, it was Connecticut. That's fine. Where do you live? Massachusetts? All right, Az, sick. Okay, so the worst thing Az can do to us is miss bones, and diversion of funds is something we're actually pretty good at, considering we'll have all the cards. And now, this is going to be so annoying, because if Az comes down and plays like Prognostic Q Loop and Masterwork, technically before Az takes any runs, we should be asked, do you want to res something? Because there's no paid ability window when the run initiates, so when Az can fire their ability, so the last time we can mess with their credits is like, ah, man. Hey, thanks. You too, eh? We're gonna mulligan the sand. I'll pause at the start of your turn in case you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you see, they know it's good. They pause at every single click. Oh wow, one ad. That's actually really unlikely. We have 27 advertisements. No, we have less because a bunch of these aren't advertisements. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. We have 17 advertisements. So we're assuming we're gonna have more than one in an opening hand. We don't. IP block is pretty rough against Az on the basis that Az does come with Link, so he can get through this for 2 credits. Not great. Stop talking, just stop saying state names. Welcome to California. All right, this one, like, that's also the thing too, is that's what was so nice about the zero cost advertisement upgrade is you could just res it, right? Like you could just res it. You didn't care. It didn't cost you anything. But resing a Maryland campaign and having them trash it is actually pretty bad. I think we ice this one up. I'm going to ice this one up. And here we have a reason to res it on our turn. We're not going to res another advertisement. At least we want to res it before Az's first click. Maybe that's a good thing about Spark Agency. We have timing windows. But I think I may make mistakes though. So do I. So do we. We want to res this before they can play a hedge fund. Like maybe that's the best play we have here. You have to click for a credit to play hedge fund. Having scored false lead can be similar in timing questions. It can, but false lead at some point doesn't matter, and false lead matters less during runs. This actually can matter entirely during runs and can matter between every single paid ability window. Generally, false lead only matters between their second and third click, usually, unless you take a tag, 2 tags, maybe it's a bit different, but like it's not as bad. This is way worse. Yeah, or some strange windows, a cold sight, yeah. It's not as common. They also boomerang, that's a pretty bad hit. They have 3 of them, so it'll be fine. Yeah, timing window nightmare matchup. This is really bad. Sometimes a matter of 3 clicks that they have misdirection or something, but it's not as bad. Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as Spark. Spark is absolutely a problem. All right, so they ran. Again, hard hitting news with Az. Az has a credit, or sorry, a link. So there's one more credit we have to trace into it. You should res on your turn then, because now you don't threaten Spark on an ice res and you don't gain anything by waiting. Oh, that's true, Celestial. We do have advertisement ice. I think we only have we don't have advertisement ice. Our opponent doesn't know that, but you're totally right. We should res this on our turn. So there's the threat of us reading pop-up window, and this deck is not running pop-up window. There's a whole bunch of advertisement ice. Maybe there's at least 2. Let's just say that. But you're right. If we wanted to play around that, we should have definitely res this on our turn so we could threaten resing a pop-up. Oh, this is the one we actually want iced up. That's a bummer. Let's draw up. Let's get a pad campaign or something. DBS is okay. Let's do Nico DBS. If they trash the DBS, so be it. And this is the point where we're going to res the Nico only when it is worth firing at the last paid ability window on their turn, so we can rob them a credit if we do. People complain about Malia for timing reasons, but Malia is a treasure. I really like Malia. There is a whole bunch of cards like that. Technically, Gachapon is somewhat like that. Street Peddler is even worse. Malia is pretty bad. Let's be honest. But yeah, it's kind of all over the spot. Congratulations might be one. I think loot box is probably an advertisement. All right, Masterwork is down. So we just have to hold over this button. And now we're just hoping that somehow we can like score this out. We actually probably could score this out. We just need enough money for 1 ice. Hydra is relatively good into Boomerang. I guess they get a tag for 10 credits. Is that good? I absolutely retract my statement. But at least we haven't seen a miss bones yet, because all our economy comes from the table, so they don't deal with the table. We're in a good spot. Hey, Mrs. Sturt, how do we get into discussing rules minutia? I was talking about the rules video, the timing window. Jeff, how's it going? It's going to be coming out this weekend. I think Sunday will be scheduled. And we were talking about that diagram. I think, well, I know I showed you and how I don't think it's intuitive. And then everyone brought up rules grievances. It's cathartic. It's nice. My favorite timing jank, Paolo's Cafe. The thing is, like, I don't even know if Paolo's Cafe is that bad, because there's like almost no program that you can pull to the table at instant speed that changes how the opponent plays. Like back in the day with Cash, arguably, but I don't think you really can. All right, so they discard one card. Technically, there's the last res window on their turn is after discard. So there is a res window before they end turn. We'll res the DBS as well, because they saw what we drew there, right? Did they run? Yeah, they did. So order here doesn't matter. What would we rather have? The card that costs more to trash, the card that costs less to trash? We'll take the card that costs less to trash because it gives us more funny. All right, so we want to get that on the table. I think we can threaten to ice up the Nico and have that be our scoring remote server, because IP block is definitely not our scoring remote server. So we'll just put this on server 2. DBS is like a huge prime target to trash. So they think they might know what that is. Cards interacting with timing throws people off so much. The amount of times in person that people forget forma carry is the thing and starts managing successful run triggers is wild. But that's the thing, is like, forma carry is so unique that it's very easy for people to jump the window. It's like, I used to play Councilman on Street Peddler, and there were so many ways that that card produced illegal board states that were very hard to fix. And like, whose fault is it? It's technically card design's fault, because it's almost impossible to ask it. Well, okay, no, players just have to play differently. But like, assuming that there's going to be a councilman on every Street Peddler is like, good luck. It's really hard. Palace could get bad if Hive Mind was still legal, but I can't think of anything that messes with Corpse Turn currently that doesn't require ramping up after install. Yeah, there's like, you have to argue for really niche cases, like using Gachapon to produce the one that increases the cost of installing hardware, or sorry, ice on a server, network exchange, whatever it's called. Like, they have to ask that before they install a card. Like, there's some really weird stuff. All right, well, we're cooking. Okay, so next turn we'll have this server pretty good. A double ice server is really nice against Az. We're going to see some sort of HQ pressure soon enough, like Awaken Plant, and again, this doesn't hold. So we have a good incentive to get another piece of ice on HQ. We can draw once. Okay, well, that's going to be our fallback plan. We'll just install that and we'll click for a credit. In theory, we actually could just consider it instead of clicking for a credit. We should set up the server that we want to score behind. Again, we are pretty weak to a single copy of like a diversion of funds, a boomerang. So at least if they steal this, I think we'll be fine with the credit differential. What's the weirdest way you can install a clot? Prognostic Q loop is pretty fun. That's a good one. I don't know if there's that many else. Like, all the really ugly instant speed tutors like Da Vinci are gone, Street Peddler are gone, Gachapon works, Simon Chip obviously works, SMC obviously works. I'm pretty sure the Secretary is a click ability. Yeah, it's probably Prog. Yeah, we're gonna get a diversion now. Let's see where the boomerang goes. Yeah, okay. It's not too bad as a diversion, right? Like, they spend a fair bit. In theory, they shouldn't install this boomerang. They should just install it while running. It costs them a credit, but they get a click back, which is, you know, generally your clicks are worth credit. So here, unless they install another piece of hardware, they probably missed out the opportunity of masterwork. Az is really tricky though. So the fact that it tells you, and that's the best part of learning ads on JNet. Now it says, do you want to install a hardware? And then you're like, I could have done that there. Which, hey, that's good. We'll res the IP block. They get through it for free. If they steal the Bologna again, we'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 credits richer, potentially. That's a very expensive server too. It is, but they so far haven't shown any interest in trashing our stuff, and our economy is actually pretty reasonable here. All right, so they boomeranged that. They could have traced it for 2. Let's see what they hit here. All right, be careful. You can go down to 6 credits here. Street Peddler, Gachapon, Q Loop, Clone Chip, Simul Chip, Secretary, SMC all can chain into each other in Eternal. That's really cool. Is Secretary not a click ability? Deuces. Draw 2, gain 3. So they ended on 8, and we're not on economic warfare. Now, mind you, we're going to be on a lot more credits, and they still have to steal the Bologna, and they understand they run hard hitting. So if we just do solid advance events, we're in a good spot. So here we actually can decide our order of our triggers, and they actually matter because Nico campaign draws a card. So if we fire the Maryland first, we have a chance of drawing the Maryland. I think we're actually happy drawing the Maryland. We can also opt to not shuffle with the Maryland because then daily business show, we know there's one agenda on the bottom of the deck, but I'd argue that's probably not worth caring about. So we'll do Maryland first, and then with the Nico, if we draw the Maryland, it's fine. Okay, market forces. I think we'd rather have the tiered subscription. It is an advertisement. It costs 0. It's nice. So here we can install some stuff. I know we didn't res this other daily business show, but like we don't really need it. We need to keep our credits up for hiding news. So I think we'll just do install advance. We have a second to advance. And there's a big chance while these are 2 ice that we can't afford, at least here we can afford to res one of them, whichever one they don't boomerang, because they're not very good at presenting breakers and running remote servers without, well, Chesva doesn't work there. Admittedly, if they ever hit like a bad toll booth or sorry, a worse Hydra, they can prognostic it, but yeah, we'll take this. It's unfortunate we just can't get these things on the table because now we're only generating a launch campaign. But yeah, like say they drop a, what's it called? A Miss Bones turn 1, trash 3 of our things. Like I think we're out of the game. And so far, what have we cost them? I think we've only cost them 3 credits. That just can't be enough. Right? There's no way that's enough. All right, they know we have hard hitting news, so I can play a bit defensively here. Now they have a run-based engine, so they understand if they are running, right? Like we have a chance of hard hitting news. So we'll see how that goes for them. Here they have the prognostic, they have the masterwork, so they can install some hardware. I don't think they're gonna get a lot of digs off of R&D here. I think the only way they can see multiple cards in R&D is what's it called? Is Wake Implant. They discarded 2 Miss Bones last turn. Wait, are you for real? Wow, they had him. Maybe we iced it up a bit, but yeah, that seems really good. Having played against this deck, it's usually a lot more than 3 credits. Ooh, that's a really bad hit for them. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe scoring this out is wrong. Do we want to spin? Spin is fine. Launch campaign is obviously fine too. I think we'll take the spin. It's really good with daily business show. We'll just score that out. And so now they have some breathing room here. Now this thing gets us our money back, and next turn we can put 3 things on the table. We have that like pretty low commitment IP block server, which is nice. So we can go ahead and get like I think the tiered subscription in there, considering they're going to run once a turn, and then Marilyn can show herself out when Marilyn shows herself out. We have a good server though, and I think that's eventually like a problem, as we're gonna have to score out. Maybe they can lock the top of R&D, but they're like 1 Bologna steal away from being hard hitting newsed. Admittedly, Chesva does help a fair bit with that. But yeah, we'll see. The daily business shows too also mean that we're never going to get R&D locked. So even if they're seeing the top card of the deck and it's not an agenda, we have a chance of drawing agendas because we draw 2 bottom 1 and potentially draw 3 bottom 1. Here though, they can Chesva to use those to trash the top cards of our deck. So they trash advertisements cheaply. That's like okay. Second flip switch. Cool. They're on 2 of these. This is much more fun also when you play in person because you get to see the opponent like doing all their things here. Here, there's a lot of stuff going on Cats Inside that we're just not going to see. Prepaid coming off the top. Nice. Getting used to Chesva credits. So now they don't have money to steal. So if they hit a Bologna here, they can't really afford to steal it. No further actions. That's always the mixture between setting up and keeping your credits up. Like here we hard hitting news them. I think we have 3 in the deck. So like we just do install hard hitting news. And we make them lose a credit on their turn and on our turn. So that's going to be pretty ugly for them, I think. Merely they have 2 flip switches, but like I'd rather them use the clear tags than like bounce off of a Hydra. Here we probably actually should res the second daily business show. We might have missed that window. It's not very responsive right now. I'm like half worried it's heat, half worried it's JNet. We were too late. That's fine. Okay, so we'll put this in. I think we'll put this in server 1. Maybe we don't put this in server 1 because that's where we put Nico campaigns. So we'll do new remote. We'll do new remote. On our turn, we'll res the tiered, so they drop to 6. And then we'll play hard hitting news here. I would love to put something in the remote server because maybe we can score out. Here they have 7 credits with links, so we'll put it up to 8. JNet seems laggy to me. Hey, Diogene, how's it going? It's for everyone, I think. It's been pretty rough for the last while. I don't know. It feels like we've been in it's been a bit awkward for a bit. So now we'll see what they do. We can always res this Maryland campaign if they ever need it. Again, here they can clear 2 tags clicklessly and creditlessly, and then from there we can be a bit more annoying with the Maryland campaign. But ideally we're drawing deeper to find the second hard-hitting news, so if they ever feel like they clear tags and interact, we can punish them once again. So I think we fired maybe 4 credits. Maybe this will be the 5th credit. But maybe we can argue if they're not trashing our stuff, this is a better ability than CTM because it actually does something. Let's argue that. Also, we run. If they run, we gain a credit. All right, they cleared 2 tags. Clear tag. Clear tag. I will res this here. So they can't like play deuces or something. So now they have 6 cards in hand. They'd have to discard down to 5 because their hand size went up and they only have a credit. And they can't really afford to run safely and they can't trash this. So it's a pretty easy run there. If they run, we get a credit. They risk hard hitting news again. So they just click for credit here, discard a card. Unless they want to be really risky and hope we don't have it there. There you go. So we're not generating that much money. We'll res the second daily business show. We need to make sure we're on the table here. So we have a Rashida. That's probably the best hit. So wait, what do we pick? Choose cards to add to the bottom. Okay. So we'll take the Rashida. It's a play. So I think we could install the Spin Doctor into a new remote server, res it to draw, and then get 2 installs. Hopefully an advertisement and a Rashida. Yeah, okay. That's good. So we'll do advertisement. We'll do Rashida. And then we'll ask how you all feel about stacking servers. How does everyone feel about stacking servers? How do you stack servers? There's a button to stack servers, right? Is this too small? And so as soon as they start clicking for credits, that's when we'll res the tiered subscription, because I don't think they'll run on the basis that would be probably a pretty bad thing to do. But if they ever start clicking to credits, it's probably because they want to play something. Like, oh, wow, they went. Hold on. Maybe they should have asked there. I'm surprised that they're running here, but here we could have res the tiered subscription to make them lose a credit, or so we'd also gain a credit when they ran. It's in the settings. Okay. It's in profile settings. I thought it was attached to this. Wait, oh, it's in here. Oh, sick. Okay. So we've never done this on the channel before, so let me know what you think. But basically any cards that are identical, that are in uniced servers, they just get stacked on top of one another. If I can ever leave this menu. Oh, we're trapped here forever. Shit. Yeah, that was a window too where they probably should ask, is there something you want to do? I would like to leave this menu immediately. Help. Oh, wait. If you were panicking at home, yes, I figured it out. Stacking is helpful. I think it is. I think it's confusing to newer players. I think if you're a bit more seasoned, this is like the intuitive way to do it. I'll do this in person if I can. But yeah. Now rezzing this also doesn't do anything because the first time has already happened. They're going back. Oh, because they stole an agenda. They're installing a Docklands pass. Yeah, wow. The fact that we could have rezzed a tiered subscription there actually saves us a fair bit. Like, I think we should have done it. I'm going to do it now so they have less money. No, I don't really care. If they steal a Bologna, they steal a Bologna. We should consider shuffling this back. Again, they only have single axes on R&D if Awaken Plant doesn't turn on. Rezzing this doesn't really matter because they could check it here and that'd be worth it because going from 6 to 5 doesn't change it. What would an acceptable time to wait instead of asking? It's harder in person and online because online you don't know if it's lag. So online I would always ask. In person, like, it's up to you to decide. But online I can't tell if they're struggling with lag or not. I'll just res it on their turn. We'll res Rashida. Also, there's a chance with lag that we just literally cannot respond in time. All right, so Spin Doctor is also something you can consider rezzing on the opponent's turn. They have 6 credits. We have only 14. We have to bottom 2 of these. I think having the Crypto Crash is a bit annoying. It'd be really good if we could fire it. Can we res 2 ice? I think we can. So we'll take it. I don't think we need ice, so we'll just do this, something like that. Mandatory as well? Okay. And again, if they run, we get 2 more credits. So this ice is slightly cheaper than it looks. So we'll do server 2, advance. And I think we'll get a pad campaign in another remote server and we can res this when we think it's necessary. I'm not sure if it's now. You don't need to click Rashida. I know, Nemo. I always do it. I think the fact that the mandatory draws the button that fires Rashida doesn't make sense. The button should say something like start a turn triggers. Because I always think if I hit mandatory draw, it's going to go to my mandatory draw and I'll miss it. I know, though, that if you hit it, you do it. It's just kind of the idiosyncrasies of how I play, unfortunately. But I do get that feedback, and I appreciate it, that you want to help me out. We have 16 for the server, really, with the tier. It's 18 with Maryland. Oh, yeah. When our turn starts, for sure. I'm going to res this here. It's a pad campaign. Again, I feel like they trash it, we're okay. But we just want to make sure they can't play sure gamble that easily. And they need to hear, like, it's really hard. If they run and we crypto crash, like, we didn't double advance this, but there's always a consideration that hard-hitting news will be around the corner. It's just we can't play it this turn. Actually, there's a chance that playing this was wrong because we're going to crypto crash their money away. There's a chance that our ability here is entirely wasted unless it matters about what they're going to do this exact turn. So, yeah, that's maybe a bit strange. Because if they're going to lose 7, why do we res this? Okay, now here they can run. And they can boomerang one of these, and they have to do it at the start of the turn. So whichever one they don't boomerang, if they're charging server 2, we res the other one. They're going R&D here. All right, they have a lot of money. They can steal Bologna for 1 credit. Maybe you cook the crypto crash for extra meanness. Vincent, how's it going? Yeah, we could. We definitely could. We don't have a trigger here. We could spin doctor back in, but I don't think we really need to. Here, the thing is, like, they can trash cards for free, right? Like, we have no card that costs more than 3 to trash. So they're always get, value from their Chesva. I do think you're right. I think we advance this once more and we ice up R&D and then see what they do. Admittedly, though, like, Eula's not really promising it to Chesva because they get through it for 2 credits, but it does force them to spend the credits, so it's kind of nice. I think I'd rather have any other ice here, though. Largely any other ice. We only have 7 ice in the deck. We're looking at 5 of them. So why I like to have advanceable cards like NGO to bluff. That's not always the fastest way. Yeah, that's why I like Seamless Launch, right? Like the Loras Mari decks are doing it really well. All right, well, we have a hard-hitting news, so that's totally fine. We have to return 2 cards. Link. Okay, well, we have to take the hard-hitting news. So we advance this once to make it look like a Bologna. We have these in backup. So we put this in another server, I think. Is it more important we ice R&Ds or more important we shuffle this way? I think it's more important we shuffle this away. And because shuffling this gets difficult once we started bottoming agendas with Daily Business Show. I think we've only bottomed 1 agenda, so this is probably fine. So we'll shuffle this for safety and then we'll hard-hitting news. They have 1 link, so we have to spend 2. It's trace 6. I really like Chesva. I do too. I really do too. I think it gets harder to play in metas like this that we're currently in right now, where running gets punished very aggressively. But this is just an absurd card. It's just a really absurd card. And it feels hard to play this if you're just trying to like have ice on central servers. You need like traps, other stuff. I'm really excited about this card in general. It also just like makes me feel good. Just because Chesvas has been kind of part of my life growing up for a long time. The coffee my folks drink at home is like Bosnian coffee that they cook in Chesvas. I have my own Chesva, so it's like a nice familial thing too. All right, here they might not clear the tags, and that's okay with us. We can top deck some agendas and like score some points. They're just going in. We've seen, in terms of clearing tags, we've seen 2 deuces and 2 flip switches. So yeah. The reason why I shuffled in there so they can't win just off of 2 rips. In theory, they could still, but they'd have to steal Bologna here, which they have enough credits to do it. Economy tied to MU conditional on centrals, which makes it much more interesting than Rezzing. Yeah, you have to work for it. You have to interact. And I think that's inherently really good. It's just a shame there's so many decks that absolutely slap you out of the sky for interacting. All right, they trash the Spin Doctor. I haven't been doing a good job tracking that they've been trashing stuff. Doof. They need a boomerang here. I would argue the doof doesn't matter that much. It drops us to 9, which that's okay. But like we have in the mix 1 copy of the one that lets us exchange accounts with them. So I think we're okay with this. They have 1 click to run their mode server. We can still res a toll booth, and we're making like 3 credits a turn, I guess. I was trying not to mention Rizeki. Yeah, no. It's cool too. Like these sort of cards don't feel absurdly unfair compared to things like, what's it called? Bankroll. So it's nice that you have like an option of what you want to do with them. When HHN rotates, it's only public trail that lets you straight up give runner tags. It's not thinking how we ship from Vlad post rotation. There'll definitely be a replacement from hard-hitting news. If not in this half of the cycle, in the full cycle, I would bet, good money on. I think we have threat level alpha still. But in terms of proactive tagging, I think that's it. There's a 4-2 agenda that does it. Obviously rezzing ice and stuff like that does it. There's traps, assets, and ambushes that does it. But in terms of operations, I think that might be it. Oh, that's pretty rad. So they res and they saw the top of the deck. So now they're playing all the 2s. That makes sense. So 2-2, 2-2-2. So they can look at 6 cards and steal 1. So I do think here we consider spin doctoring just to get more cards into the mix, just because they didn't see the top card of R&D. So I'm going to spin doctor here. I'm going to shovel back a spin doctor. And I think a Rashida. Hey, Recanted, I'm new to Netrunner. Since playing back in 2015, one of my first game with 4.9 was just surprised how much pressure I could put on the corp with a single non-AI icebreaker. Hold on, one real quick. One agenda there. They can get a crypto crash. Yes, Amakua is absolutely absurd. Just Amakua and Leech, I think, gets you so far with economic denial and pressured runs. The corporation can do something about it, so it doesn't feel massively unfair. But I totally agree with you. It is such a thrill to go that far. Welcome back to the game. One of the worst things against Amakua IP block, mind you, rotates, and the ice, a lot of the high strength ice in the standard format is also rotating too. So Maryland campaign, we want to shuffle that back after because, actually, do we even want to shuffle it back? I think we do. They're on Hushik. But I want to draw into a market forces. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no, that's fine. Wait, we win, don't we? Yeah, I think we just won the game here. I have never done a shim from Vlad. So there's multiple ways we can win here, right? We can do install Beal, Vlad. That puts 8 advancements on it. 8 advancements means it's 7 advancements, which means it's a 4-pointer. That's enough, right? Otherwise, we can do install Vlad. That is way more flashy. Let's just do that. So shipment from Vlad says, if the runner has at least 2 tags, that's 4 advancements. So let's Vlad that. Wait, you can spread this? Oh, wow, you can spread that. Okay, that's good to know. And in a single paid ability window, we'll score this. We'll score that. Good game. Did one Beal do it? I think we were short. Oh no, one Beal would do it because it gets to, yeah, so 5 is 3, 4 is 7. We could have done a single Beal. Yeah, we could have scored one big Beal. Yeah, I was holding on. Hey, thanks, you too. Yeah. Ashok was my favorite runner deck in 2019. I think at the point in time where Hushik came out, I think as it's not that different right now, 5-3s were so popular that I got burned by it a fair few times where you Hushik and you get nothing. And so like comparing that to like, you know, just playing Stargate and controlling the game felt really rough. It's a really weird thing. It's like cards like this sometimes just feel worse than like playing Stargate. And I've just been a huge Stargate fan forever. We didn't respect Q-looped clock timing. Arguably, you don't have to. You're right, we should have, but they actually needed 1 more credit. So we could have scored at the crypto crash first. So Thanos, you're right. But what we had to do there is we had to ask anything you want to do. They had no way of playing around it. Because if I'm not mistaken, we do the crypto crash. We scored the crypto crash on our first click, score while holding priority. At that point, they have 2 credits. And to produce a prognostic, it's 3 credits. So then we could have done the second. So you're right, we didn't actually respect it the way we could have. But our play pattern, as long as we scored the crypto crash before we played the second one, it would have been fine. We just went for the 8 agenda point score. If they had 3 credits, then it's a bit harder. But the thing is, like, as soon as we play the shipment from Vlad, we can score before they have a paid ability window. So, yeah, you're right, though. Yeah, they can do it before the crypto score, though. Yeah, but if they do it, you're right. They could preempt it before the crypto score if they want to be like, oh, I'll just rip it. Yeah, you're right about that. If they just did it before we even scored at the first agenda, then they could have us in a bind. And maybe it's a 2-coster. Maybe they are on it. Let's count influence, right? So 2, assuming they're on more of these. So let's say 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then deuces. It'd be rare, but maybe. Wasn't crypto already on the table? It was already on the table, but it would stop us from scoring the Beal. Yeah. There's a window, but they have to predict the shipments. Yeah, it looked like the shipments were a surprise, so it was niche, but you're right. I should have asked action and then taken my first action, which would have solved it. So yeah, that's technically not up to board. You didn't respect Q-Loop, Gachapon, Clot, which they didn't have money for. Oh, they did have money for. You're right. They do. You're right. They really do. They can do that. Q-Loop into Gachapon is 1 credit. Gachapon into Clot. You know how cool that would be? I think Prognostic Q-Loop is like such a busted card that like when there is a deck that's not as specialized as that can play it on tempo, like, oh my God, Q-Loop is so messed up how good it is. It's just like, find me a deck that could support it. It's like the spark of inspiration problem, right? Yeah, it lets them duck a bit of the crypto drain. They would still get fully drained, but the clot's on the table, so who cares? All right, we're not very good at icing our centrals. I wonder what this matchup is like. Hey, how's it going? Q-Loop is goofy. It is so good. It is so good. Click this lead, putting a card from your deck onto the table is like busted card velocity. That is so powerful. So against Sable, we want to basically ice up all our centrals. With 7 ice, it's hard to do that and also push in the remote server. So maybe Archives gets open, which if she runs away with like an info bounty or sec testing, that's really bad. Oh, get out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. All right, well, it's going to suck. It's the first game in Standard and we're asset spamming with hard-hitting news, so I don't feel like the deck is that different than playing the NEH and Startup, but like, yeah, I feel bad. Feels bad. I never realized before, but Sable is all text. No, Sable has a. Wait, what do you mean? No, Sable has flavor text, right? Hey, I'm a new person, Andre. Oh, okay. That's a much better hand. Chisel Charm Cula Poshiko from Ashes Started may still be my favorite deck of all the wackiness. Yo, Lava, I don't know if I've seen that one. Oh, like she's mostly text. Yeah, but that's only because she's mostly explainer text. Like you can imagine down the line a Sable reprint that doesn't have the, you know, the text. Hey. Well, best of luck. Have fun. I really like Sable's name. It's just a fun name to say. Okay, do we leave HQ open? Why shouldn't I? The mark problem, but like, what are we gonna do? Ice up HQ with this hand? No, we're just gonna put 3 cards on the table. This succeeds 2 out of 3 times. Don't completely delete them? You kidding me? They're gonna delete us? Free runs on central servers? We have 7 ice. They might delete us. This is anyone's game. I'll be honest, this is anyone's game. There's a chance that they're not like comfortable around hard-hitting news, but like if they just don't get hard-hitting news, this deck doesn't do that much. So it's kind of up to them. I would imagine if you're new to Standard, there's not really anything exactly like hard-hitting news in Startup, so like it might get you. But like just get money, check the table. That seems good enough. Gotta love Netrunner with a lot of running. We've seen a lot of running so far. This is gonna be a lot of running. Our last matchup was a lot of running. It's good. They figured out the format. They figured it out. Oh, we could have played around the sure gamble. We were so focused on their beautiful Standard journey that we forgot to res, so they were at 4 credits. Let's say that's how we played around the diversion. They took our 2 credits. That's like, that's hateful. I think that's really good for them. If they want to get into Standard, you gotta do that. They figured it out. Really well done. Okay, so now they can trash both of these. It was a trap all along. Alderain, how's it going? Need to go over a busy day. Have a great stream. Thank you, Jessica. Enjoy your busy day. Stay warm, huh? There's public trail in Startup. Galhar, yeah, I'm aware. It's just like, you just play no free lunch in Startup. You don't have to worry about it. Shinchling, how's it going? How you doing? Evening. I re-watched our botched game, and you seem surprised that I was running the wide open central servers early. So why is that? Why don't you care about defense in Standard? Stab. I keep forgetting what your JNet handle is. Did we just play? But every time that you enter the chat and then you're like, oh, we just played. I'm like, oh my God, that is Stab. And I never figured it out because it's a different name. We didn't just play, did we? Soup time. Okay, what was the match we played? Because I think that's a more important thing. I don't remember our matchup. If you can tell me what the idea was, I can give you like a basic explanation. All right. These are all fine. A piece of ice on HQ would be nice. It was last stream. I was on Sable 2. What corp was I playing? Okay, so we have his money. That doesn't do too much. Spin Doctor can like fix our stuff, but like they only have 2 more diversions and we can duck them with this hand. So we're just going to do something like this. I wouldn't love to res the Spin Doctor. I was the one that simply did not function. I don't know. I honestly, I don't, what, do you know what I was playing? So largely in Standard, in the open, okay, so like there's 2 things. Firstly, in Standard, because there's a lot of defensive agendas, you can play a lot of 5/3s. Generally, corporations have other ways to attack you, like hard-hitting news. A lot of times the game comes down to more like stabilizing your economy and putting down threats and like tech cards than it is just like slamming central servers and stealing enough agendas to win the game. In fact, with cards like Global Food Initiative and a lot of 5/3 agendas, we did a whole video on this. It's actually relatively hard to win off central servers sooner than the corporation could do something. So a lot of the times, right, like look at the Sable deck. It needs to play cards. And sure, it's super simple. Oh, that's really good. It's really nice to run central servers to like, you know, get yourself built up and get some free accesses, but like you have to balance that often with also setting up for the future. Because say in 2 turns, I got 2 ice and start jamming stuff behind it. What are they going to do? Like maybe get lucky off central servers, but you can generally do a bit better than get lucky. So we'll see. Here we could res the Spin Doctor. I've been totally forgetting we're pad, whatever. They can see 2 cards here. Amani, that's expensive. The NEH deck? Oh, like the trap NEH deck. Oh man, I don't remember. Generally single access on centrals is low value, so Andre may have preferred to set a board presence instead. Exactly. And specifically like single accesses, if you're not doing something on top of it, like dirty laundry or like raindrops cut stone, single accesses like it is a huge trade-off. Like a single access on R&D is only a 20% chance for it to be something. So generally when the format is powered enough up, we're like taking one of your 4 clicks in a turn to get a 20% chance to steal an agenda in a game that might be 10 turns. Like you can't always afford to do that. Now there are certain board states where you just have to get lucky. Getting information about the deck is worth it. There are caveats to that. Like in Sable, it's free. Why not? But that's usually the answer that you get to. Checking server 5, it's a Nico. We can't res to make them poor enough, so we won't. Don't fully remember, but I think it was the one where you got desperately trying to get Saiz and Tan to go off. Oh, that was a while ago then. I have no idea, but it's probably something like that. Hey, Michael, thanks again for the game. It's nice to review a game from the other side and getting your thoughts about various plays from both sides. Michael, did we just play? Thank you for the game. It is really cool. Like that's a big thing. If you want to play on the stream against me, like you have a VOD to see the other side where we see how we feel about what you're doing. And like, we're not that disparaging, I hope, but it's a really nice thing. It's actually super, super important. If you need me to slow down all the corp triggers, no, I appreciate it. But I think we're okay. Yeah, we did miss 1 corp trigger at the beginning. All right. So we'll res the pad campaign on their turn. They're down on 2 credits. So now they're just going to get the news, unfortunately. We can save our agenda problems with hard-hitting news. Rashida on the table is really nice. So yeah, I think that's all we do. I think we can start with the Spin Doctor here. We'd love to get more stuff on the table that isn't agenda. The Bologna seems relatively safe with this hand. So unfortunately here, actually, we might have botched it because we can't discard the Beal that easily. So we have to hard-hitting news for 1 click. We have to click for a credit for another click. So I think we do Rashida, credit hard-hitting news, and then we hold the hard-hitting news. Yeah, that was it sounds like a mistake. That was not great. Guess that's going to be a learn by playing thing because I just don't get it. Stab, we can talk about it after this game if you want. I don't have the replay saved, but like, I think this is just a really big thing that like big 5-3 agendas, you need a lot of accesses. And it's really hard to win off centrals on single accesses. Like also decks like NBN decks, a lot of times they have Bolognas in them. So understanding that if you're accessing without 5 credits, there's literally 9 fewer points in the game. And also if you steal a Bologna on this board state, can you contest the remote server the next turn? No. So you're literally allowing the corporation to score agendas. So there's a bunch of little considerations that all together kind of like disincentivize you from going for single accesses unless you can make the single accesses be really good for you on tempo, or if you're already set up to a board state where if the corporation tries to do something, you already have the ability in terms of programs, hardware, and money to interact with it. 3 tags. Okay, well, we get the Rashida, which is really nice. So now we want to draw into one of our fast advance pieces, and or a market forces would be like spiteful enough. Okay, I'm still going to hit this button. I know we can do better. Okay, we have a market forces, so we can be really rude about it. And we still get our mandatory. So we have 3 clicks here. So we will start with the market forces. It just stops them from clearing the tags, which is nice. So we have a longer time to draw into the thing that we want to draw into. The other option instead is just to res stuff. And we can obviously res stuff. We can discard here, no problem. I think we're okay with the market forces with a Spin Doctor on the table. We can shuffle back in. So we'll take money from them. And we don't have to res these until they matter. Here, we could push out Bologna. I just want 1 piece of ice. Like, diversion is kind of rough here. Maybe we should have market forces. Maybe we could have waited. But the Bolognas are relatively safe in hand. The Beal's really good, though. If we top deck the 4-2, though, the thing that lets the fast advance, the Disappears, we'd rather score the blown out. Andre, you playing Spark? Is everything okay? Hate to see it. Narco, how's it going? How's Bolton doing? It's the decklist of the week. I don't like it. Don't you have to res the ad before they hit end of turn trigger for the runner's turn? Yeah, probably. I am probably missing the trigger on their turn, but we weren't going to res an advertisement on our turn. So like it comes out in the wash, but you're right. On JNet, it is a bit tricky. We have to technically do it on their turn, which it's hard. I basically get the gist of it, but the access just feels important to me just to have some knowledge. That's another thing though, is like the more you play in standard, and especially when you play more competitive decks, knowledge becomes less useful. Because like I can look at a competitive Asmari deck and tell you what like 90% of the cards are. 95% of the cards are. Are they playing magnets? I don't know. So like the knowledge is less important the more comfortable you are with the meta. That is also like a big contributor. I think it's a frustrating point of the game, though, that a lot of current good decks can almost completely ignore central defenses because the assets and run disencouragement are powerful enough to demand attention. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that's a problem. We could have done a thing there. I'm worried about chat. We could have rezzed that so they couldn't clear the tag. Whatever. Ugh. We just hit them with another hard-hitting news, though, so, like, whatever. The copium is good. There's a new Flesh and Blood set, and Bolton is getting cards, I think. Although they seems to be having a good time. I thought he was never the purpose of the deck list a week. No, this is our homework. We have to do this. So I'm waiting for them to click for credits so I can res the Nico. Should have res while they were clicking for credits? I know. I was reading chat. 100%. When they click for credits, you res. You just put them down to 0. Especially because they clear the tag, which, like, they're just going to get another tag. They're really not going to like standard here. Brennan, how's it going? It's the grid. How you doing? All right, here, them not having credits doesn't matter, but they're also intelligently not clicking for credits. The Blonas are safe. Unfortunately, they're in HQ. That Archives run was clickless. Here, I guess we still res the Nico. Ooh, nice hit. At least we'll draw something else. Not that we win with Daily Business Show. So I will res this just because we need money. We'll not res this one. This one is tempo positive, so like whatever. We need to ice up mostly R&D. Oh, wow, that's rude. IP block is good enough. So Amani is like probably not going to do anything. Keeping this is good because it protects the Bologna, but we have to, I think we have to ice up our NDE. And then we're going to hard hitting news once more. We're going to get Amani down. That's fine. It's like, I feel really bad that this is their first standard game. You want at least one though to trash the boom? Oh yeah, if they're tag me and you're accessing centrals, you probably want at least one credit to trash the boom, but they understand that there's a card here we could res. IP block is good, but you took away the opportunity for them to get acquainted with the Hydra. Yeah, I can't afford it. Ooh, yeah. Sorry about that. That's a first game into standard. I hate to do that. But this one leaves standard real soon. You get to play just long enough to not like it. Aye. Good to hear. Welcome to standard. We don't have that whole having credits here playing non-anarch runners either. I don't think it's that bad about the second part, but yeah. But yeah, definitely. Running with low credits is not a thing you can afford to do in standard, which is like not great. Look, they only have to deal with this for like a month or two or whatever. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows how long? It won't be that long though. All right, they're going HQ here. This is just a normal run. It's a blown them. They can't afford to steal it. And we just need to get cards. We'll res the wall-to-wall just to draw cards. We could flood up. We know one Hydra's on the bottom of the deck. That's not great. The money doesn't really do anything. Yo, Seb, how you doing? Click for credit. Hold on. Let me interact. Oh, I got him. Send him to the abyss. It's very slow. Like, we don't have boom in the deck, right? So, like, we literally have to do the thing. I'm going to do wall-to-wall first. This triggers our mandatory. We'll draw a card. That's what we want. And it's good that... Oh, we don't have... All right, so we do install shipment advance. That's fine. What did I just install? Oh, the other Bologna. I thought like I messed it up real bad. Yeah, click that fast, Andre. That will JNet will register that. No problem. We can res the Mani actually. Be like real shitheads here. So here we can trigger order our triggers. These are conditional abilities. So we'll get the Bologna money. Then we'll initiate trace. We'll do trace 5. Oh yeah, we didn't need the credits. I forgot it was trace 5. You're teaching them? 2 HHN is a good introduction to standard. Unfortunately, it is. Enjoy your board state. They have some incentive to trash this. We definitely need to get this back into circulation. We only have 3 tag punishment cards, and 2 of them, I believe, are in archives. That's not great. Way to run off players from the game? Yeah, okay. Tell that to Bridgman. You're not wrong though, but they seem okay with it. Either that or like copium. I did do the thing we didn't have to do, but it was right. It was the correct play. I think here if they diversion, they're like doing okay. Like diversion, trash, Nico campaign. Like honestly, we don't close the game out that quickly. Hey, Melia's popping in for not a long time. Hope the evening is going well. Yo, are you melting too? You staying nice and cool somehow? I'm doing well. Hopefully you are as well. Could be PE grinder. Yeah, it could be worse. Could be worse. How's it going, hedonism? So they're going to clear tags really slowly. The problem with this, the breakpoint is 2. They are reinvesting their Docklands Pass. We get a card draw off Nico, so that's going to be filtered as well. So we can just score out. Like, that's the thing why you don't really want to install the Docklands, is because, well, they could diversion and really upset us. So we just need to get a single ice into the Blona. So the Nico gets us full value. We can draw a card. We'll take the one that is Rezzable. Here we'll draw a card too. We just need ice. That's... I honestly think we don't score the shipment into the Bologna. We just do install. Yeah, we definitely don't. And I think they can't afford to trash this. If they do, we're fine with it. Because I think we'd rather score whatever we get from hand and then slowly work on this, because this is like 11 credits for them to deal with. That's really hard. I seeked shelter in an escape game, but we died inside Nemo's submarine. Yo, where did you go? For my birthday, we went to an escape game in Laval. And it was like one of the highest rated escape games in the province, let alone Canada. It's called, I forget the French name exactly, but it's basically like an armoire for sale. It's like the Kijiji ad, wardrobe for sale, it's called. And it was really, really good. It was sick. Dude, I'd rather get trashed by my meta/good decks than given false hope for my subpar deck building. Recanted, that is a pretty mature take on it. But I do think like a lot of players want to just get into standard and like have fun. Maybe this isn't. Oh, he did a maze in my island. I haven't been to a maze in many years, but I did their like Prohibition era one where they lock you up and handcuff you, and it was sick. It was really cool. I don't want to draw too hard, so that seems safe. All right, well, advance. Unfortunately, there's no way that we can have our cake and eat it too here. So it's safer to keep this in HQ. So I think they could still doofus with this. I think it's safer to draw one. Obviously, ordering there is really scuffed, but there's no way for us to shipment and score this out all in one turn, like both of these out. Wait, because we can do install, shipment. No, it just literally isn't enough advancements. So we'll just gain a credit here. So we can, like, doof into steal is pretty bad. I'm messing around with PE and even testing against myself. I just don't know how runners win, and I only use SG and SU. I think in startup, like, PE is a bit more reasonable, but that's because they just don't have that many one-pointers to play with. Or, like, I guess you still do, but, like, you don't have stock buyback, so that's not that frustrating. You generally play Blood in the Water, so there's real 2-pointers. You don't have Obokata, so it's like, yeah, you're right. It might still feel unfair, but it's I think a fair bit more reasonable than what standard can do. Bigger card pool, of course. All right, they're like a mixture of clearing tags. It's kind of a hard line. Like I think here, because we think they might clear tags, we are just going to shipment this out. So here, we'll just gain a credit. We don't need to draw more. Whatever. So just so the tag clearing doesn't catch up with us, we'll do new remote, shipment. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is sick that you can fast advance out of 5-3. Like that is very unique. Would we be better with Bologna in this deck? Or sorry, with psychographics? I'd argue no. I think this is still really good. This is not an optional ability apparently. Oh, it is. It just didn't ask if it was optional. Can you not refuse this? Why were we not able to refuse this? Popping out, have fun. Thanks, man. Stay cool. This does feel like Magic the Gathering. Oh, well, that's likely GG. Yeah, that might be it. That might be it. You can still... Yeah, it's hard for them to win off Centrals because they still have to deal with ice, but like the fact that the 3 Bolognas are accounted for, in theory, there's some line where like they can get through an IP block. It just... They are tagged, so this ends the run. Here we don't even have to res. So again, they don't have 5 credits. Serving for Vlad's a hell of a drug. Would be interesting to build a tag that doesn't learn Boom EODL only. Well, hey, this is one of them. But I'll be honest, that's I think maybe the first or second time we've ever played Shipment from Vlad and it did something. Like that's really cool. It didn't ask us for money, Mun. It didn't ask us for the order. It didn't ask us if. It just said when. How's it going, by the way? I'm pretty sure it just said like, which one did you want to do first? It didn't say, do you want to do this? Or maybe I did mash through it. Maybe it did. So somehow they have to get 5 credits, and then they also have to get through the EULA, which, like, that's hard. But again, this is the only unfair thing we did. Otherwise, we just were generating credits. It said initiate a trace. I'm 99% sure. That would make sense. Bologna and Obokata kind of make me want Film Critic back. Bologna and Obokata make me kind of want to have a card that's like Film Critic, but like people can interact with. I think one of the cards in the set that I'm working on that I was the most happy with, but it is like busted powerful. Hold on one second. 3 bonus, 15 credits. Good game. Thanks to the game. Sorry for the grind, eh? Yeah, they just stepped out of line. And then, like, we admittedly closed the game out faster than I thought we could, because if we don't draw into our tag punishment stuff, we have to just jam, and it's real slow. Yeah, maybe. If they come from Magic, the fact that you can draw through your deck, like, is really appealing. That's something that might not be too evident. Yeah, it's hard. Running as much as I did. Yeah, you definitely have some good incentives to run. As long as you keep your credits above 8, you're pretty safe against this thing. Worst, clear the tags, right? Yeah. Film Critic, greater than card I want, greater than Whistleblower. I want something at the power level, similar to Whistleblower, but more powerful. But not Film Critic. Like, if Film Critic trashed herself on the way out, okay. Or like if the corporation could trash Film Critic, maybe, okay. Hey, you too. Catch you around. They were very nice based off of how the hard-hitting news hit. So I think I wanted to play make a card that was basically something to do with ransom. So the idea is, and like it's really hard to put all the wording on it, but something about like run archives. For one of the cards you access, you can host it on this card, and that card loses all text. And then the corporation has to either spend probably a click and some amount of money, which you get to trash that card. So the idea is that you can run archives, and if you find something like a Managarm Skunkworks or a Spin Doctor, you host it on there, and then all other Managarms and Spin Doctors are blank. Maybe it should only work with unique cards, but then I think it's too niche. But like the idea that in theory you could actually take ice hostage doesn't make a lot of sense unless you think it's like some sort of copyright thing. But then you actually can blank ice. Pretty brutally strong and probably shouldn't be worded like that, but I really like the idea of things like Smith and Wesson, where the physicality of like kidnapping something and that having an effect and the corporations have to deal with that is really cool as a way to like temporarily blank super powerful cards. That's kind of nice. It's hard to make that off of a central run though, because you have to reveal the card, the host, I don't know. And like, yeah, I guess you always have to take the card away from them. You can't just remember what card you accessed because you have to prove it. So yeah, I think it's cool, but it's a hard design space. You basically want Malia to work for the runner? Yeah, but like rightfully so. And at least you can pay back. Like you just pay the ransom and we'll give you back Spin Doctor. You can have Spin Doctor back. It just costs a bit. Like it's an econ card that actually has like really cool timing, right? It's like, yeah, it's neat. Sounds like a hostage hush. Exactly. It's a hostage hush. I think it's really neat. I'd be into it. Whether it should blank ice though, like maybe that doesn't make sense, but that would be like a very interesting effect where like you're concerned about what you're throwing out into archives because they can use it against you. There was one Anarch card that was kind of like that. Reprint Polop. I was thinking about this recently because we're doing about the timing video stuff, and like, so Polop was the closest thing we had to modernly, to pinhole threading. And I'd argue that this is probably a bit more of a healthy card. It requires a bit of a setup. It needs to survive your hand. You have to make a run on HQ. But this card really cares about paidability on timing window priority. And I'd argue that this is one of the cards that exists in all of Startup, if it was in Startup, that would force people to learn paidability windows and priority more than any other card, to some extent. This card really, you need to know paidability priority windows, which is really good. But Polop was such a cool card. Councilman, I think, shouldn't exist. Like, I think Councilman was actually much more of a pet card for me than Polop, and these cards came out, were they next to each other? In the same pack. But Councilman is like, that is a ridiculous effect. Whenever the corp reses an asset, you may pay credits to de-res the asset upgrade. They can't res it for the remainder of the turn. The card it's not considered resed when this happens. Like, this is just such an obnoxious effect. I really like this card, especially presenting it at instant speed. It's so hard to play around. Maybe each class gets its own version that affects a different card type. One for ops, one for upgrades and assets, one for ice. And the criminal one is just a gun, and it works on sysops. All right, let's play some running. So actually, no, we got some news. We got some quick news here. Firstly, this was announced today. Oh, this is not the right page, but we'll get there. I'm so warm. Oh my God. You can tell I'm like shiny, warm. Announcing the new. Oh, that's okay. That's fine. Revolver and a Dream. I think Fall Up's still stronger than Pinhole, but I like combo decks way more than Paul Up. Disrupts them better. Yes, Paul Up is really good for the fact that you can fire it on the corporation's turn. All right, so Null Signal Games was currently looking for a new lead designer. The last lead designer, June Cuervo, she stepped down. She worked on a lot of really great stuff the last couple of years in Netrunner, but she is a lead designer in Valorant right now at Riot, doing a lot of good stuff. So that was a step down. Now there was somebody we were looking Null Signal Games, not we. Null Signal Games was looking for a new lead designer, and a new lead designer was to be found. This is Zoe Cohen. Zoe's a longtime standing member of Null Signal Games and has been a dynamic force across multiple teams. While a core part of the development team, she has also contributed in design, narrative, and visual. Her multifaceted contributions are immense, and potential makes us enthusiastic about her stepping into this new role. Is there art by Zoe in that exists? Is this Zoe Cohen's name show up as an artist on something? I feel like it might. Zoe, I don't know if I've met Zoe, but Zoe's been part of NSG for a while now. If you actually want to hear Zoe, there is a ShadowNet episode all the way back in March of 2021 during Scoops for System Gateway, in which Zoe dropped in with Phil and Eric and did an interview, and I remember really liking it. I'm pretty sure they actually play Zoe's band's music at the end of the video, and I think it's quite sick. So that's awesome. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out also to McGregor, who is holding the fort in the meantime. But Zoe does a little interview here, and I think there's some promises going forward about, you'll be hearing more from Zoe about her design philosophies and the direction she wishes to take the game over the next few weeks. I'm assuming that it means in the next few weeks we'll see more about the set. I'm pretty sure those are attached ideas. So again, everyone's out here waiting for spoilers for the new set, and then waiting for the new set to drop, and then waiting for 2 weeks for sets to be legal before nationals and all that sort of stuff. So that's going to be quite soon. So we did several cards. Hold on. Let's go. Card search. I don't know the artist thing. Does Councilman not just play into the everything comes down to an credit economy fight version of the game? Sort of, but it also becomes a timing thing where like you need to bait the Councilman and be able to res something twice. It's not that you can't afford to res something twice. That's somewhat the problem. But back in the day, like sometimes Councilman stopped you from paying 12 credits for a Sand Send, but it was more so to like stop you from resing defensive upgrades. She did Punitive, one of my favorite arts. Oh, super cool. Illustrated Zoe Cohen. That should show up, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, so she's done some art for some stuff. That name, again, I've heard for a long time. That's a lot of art. Yeah, this is like system update era. So that's a lot of the like the Deep Dream stuff, working behind the scenes, but pretty cool. A lot of the digital stuff too. That's sick. Like the Abigail, the Rototurd, I reckon. That's dope. But that's a name we've heard for a long time. So shout outs to Zoe. Really excited to see what she does. Really excited to see, again, her design philosophies. That's always like a spicy thing when a new designer comes out and says like, oh, I'm really into this. And then we got to figure out how that goes. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations. Huge shout out to McGregor. Again, we're assuming, and I've been, everyone updates the Null Signal Games website at least once a day, maybe now, to check about the Liberation Cycle updates. We're waiting for that to happen relatively soon. So we'll hope we hear about that soon. Otherwise, always be running. There's some events coming up. Firstly, here in Montreal, we have a circuit opener just this Saturday. I unfortunately won't be around for that. I'm going to be on holiday for a bit, but that is going on at l'Abyss, the same time, same place as usual. That's pretty exciting. We've had really good turnouts for those. I think those are been quite a lot of fun. I think there's another one coming up in Toronto, in the Toronto area. I think I'm going to be around for this one. This is Z-Bag Suburban Wasteland Tournament. This, to me, sounds like it has the energy of like it's like, I don't know. It has a sort of suburban grassroots fighting game tournament energy to some extent, because this is at someone's place. And I think there's a chance this might actually be streamed. There's conversations right now in like Discord groups to figure that out. So if that's the case, watch out on that date. There might be a stream to watch, but I'm excited. And I'm going to be dropping in for this. This is really cool because I will be in the area at that time, which is sick. The few core games I ran, I've seen viruses running in about every runner deck. Is it worth deck space teching against them specifically, or do you just tend to deal with them? Recanted, very good question. Let me finish the news and we'll get back to exactly that, because I think it's a really, really good question. I think that's actually the end of the news. This is sick. I'm looking forward to that. On the same date, there is the West Coast Nationals that Solomir is running on the West Side. So we're going to get a national results for Canada as soon as in next weekend. I don't know if there's a stream for this. I'll let you know if we find out, but I'm also super stoked to hear about this. This is really cool. Another Canadian Nationals. Let's go. Free beer too, Z-Bag. How's it going? Yeah, it says there's a beer on tap, which is like pretty wild. I'm really excited about this. Have we talked about Neo? Jai, as in No, I don't think I know what that is. How's it going, by the way? I think that's all I have for the news. Yeah, I think that happens all about the news. Okay, we can't do it. Let's go to the virus question. So there are a lot of really good viruses in startup and standard system gateway. There's some really good stuff. I think the most common viruses you see by a mile are botulus to some extent. I'd say even more Fermenter and then Amakua. So Fermenter is probably one of the most consistent economy cards across every faction right now. It's really, really good. And then also Amakua is a pretty prevalent breaker across mostly criminal and anarch. You don't often see it in Shaper, but it's very good. So purging viruses is incredibly expensive, and I'd argue at this point in the game it's probably too expensive. Corporations are under a lot of duress. They have a clock kind of attached to most corporation decks where they have to close the game out with some amount of speed, because unfortunately there's a lot of decks that their economies is set up in a way that you just can't overwhelm. The longer the game goes, the anarch decks are getting way too much value over turn that you really have to get to the finish line sooner than them. So going on and spending a whole turn, and I would say doing nothing is probably accurate, but just like resetting their board state back a bit is generally not good enough. I think there are some points where you can purge an Amakua, and that does make sense if you've iced up all central servers or all servers in general, so it's hard to build the Amakua counters back up. That can be upsetting for some Amakua based decks, but if archives is open, and why purge Amakua? They can just run back, and you wasted your turn, they just waste their turn rebuilding their Amakua, so it's kind of even. I think purging maybe makes sense in a deck like maybe the Spark deck, where we have a bunch more assets ticking. So even if we pass our turn, we clicklessly gain 4 credits and some card draw. That could be good enough, but largely it's a bit too expensive. I think Fermenter is arguably maybe a problem card right now. I think Anarchs as a whole, their economy is a bit busted in general. I find Fermenter, and I actually noticed this on Sunday when we played that like one null deck that wasn't too rich. And so for that deck, Fermenter was actually a really big part of the economy of the deck. So I feel like in that matchup, corporations actually had a really good window where they purged the Fermenter. It kind of pushed us out of the game because it was literally a load-bearing Fermenter. And unfortunately, in a lot of Anarch decks, as long as they play it in a way that it's like the best optimal way they can play it, the Fermenters are usually really good, but purging it out is just not enough because they have so much fallback economy that you don't push them out of the game. So you can't really spend your time doing it. So you ask, is it worth playing tech in your deck? And honestly, the conversation about viruses largely changed a year ago, where a lot of virus decks didn't see a lot of play just because this neutral 4-2 agenda that says when you score it, purge, and then from that point on, whenever you purge, gain at least 4 credits. If you have 2 of these scored, heaven forbid 8 credits. This is one of the most ubiquitous cards. It's taking up the same slot that I'd argue Off-World Office does modernly take up in a lot of decks across all factions. This card got banned. And back in the day, viruses weren't too big of a problem because this card was everywhere, that like relying on Amakua was a pretty foolish thing to do when 1 out of every 2 decks you expected were purging on tempo, and that's really bad for you, let alone they could afford to take a turn off and still get money. So that's pretty rough. This card got banned, and I think since that, like cards like Fermenter that were largely kept in check, maybe because they were tested in a meta with Fermenter, have kind of blown up. If you listen to my like comments and my ideas when we do a system gateway review, I'm honestly not that hot on Fermenter, because back in the day, viruses were hard to rely on, and this card didn't seem that good, but it turns out it's actually really, really, really quite good. So when it comes to like what can we do to address viruses, there's a bunch of things you can do. A really common one, which addresses another card we haven't talked about, is Magnet. Magnet is a card that on its own, a 3 cost, 3 strength, end the run code gate, no real face check, is like just good enough for 1 influence. But the big thing is that when you res this, you can host cards on it. You can magnetize other viruses. And the big one that you're playing around here is Botulus, which is a very common virus in most of these Anarch decks that they just put on 1 problematic piece of ice, and then every 2 to 3 turns they break it for free. So that's a nice way to deal with it. The big way you can deal with viruses, though, is Mavirus. There used to be a card exactly like this, but it was neutral. It didn't do net damage, but the net damage on this never fires. But this card allows you at instant ability speed to purge viruses, and that on its own is really important for like playing around Clot. Again, we'll talk about this when the video for timing comes out this weekend. But the biggest thing is that allows you to purge things without spending your whole turn, and most importantly, purge viruses at instant speed. So if the runner runs into a piece of ice and expects that they can break it with a Botulus or Amakua, you can purge them out and push them backwards. That's really nice, and that's valuable. Spending 3 credits instead of your whole turn, and mind you, 3 credits and a click, let alone they could run this. It looks like a thing in a remote server. That's really nice. That's honestly not too bad. I think the only other card that I would consider playing, and mind you, I think Mavirus shows up in a lot of lists, even as a card on its own. The fact that for one influence, this does something, it goes in a remote server, it looks valuable, and then eventually gets trashed, and then it's in archives. So the runner can never run archives to charge their Amakua. That's pretty good, and that's a low influence addition you can add to your deck if you find yourself getting rolled over by certain viruses. Same with Magnet. The last thing to say is Macrophage. There were some metas where Macrophage was really popular. This is a neutral card that just hates on viruses. Unfortunately, all the hate is behind traces, and right now most of the best runners in the meta have at least one link, and traces are just not great, especially these traces aren't really amazing into runners that have link, but if there's a runner deck that relies on something like Amakua, this is annoying enough for them. I just think that the matchup spread for this card is like so wide and like so varied that I don't often play this in any deck, let alone play the more than one copy of it. I feel like the other options we talked about are a bit more consistent. And then it's worth noting there are other cards like Reverse Infection that technically exist as like cards that can purge virus counters and get additional value, but like these don't see any play because the 2 modes from this are really bad. If this had gained 3 credits, I think maybe you can consider playing it, but like spending a card and a click to purge virus counters is like, it's technically better than your whole turn, but like there's so many matchups where this isn't good. That's just not worth a slot. Yeah, Reverse Infection shout out. There's not that many cards that say virus on it. I think technically Conundrum does, but like it costs 7 credits. Mavirus is the natural enemy of Clot if you corp as a fast advance plan. Yeah. And that being said, even in metas that had the most virus hate in them, like the sandbox meta, there were decks, competitive decks that were virus decks. So there's ways to play around it. It's not the end of the world. We had back in the day, what is it called? Hive Mind. This card is absolutely buck wild and is like the key piece to most of these virus-based decks. This thing is just absurd. And they still existed. So like, it's not the worst. You can still play virus decks. It's kind of cool. There's also Freedom Kamalo, and like Freedom has been competitively viable for a very long time. He's won Worlds before, and it is inherently a virus deck. And I think Freedom is probably very good right now. I wanted him a virus flatline at our meetup a couple weeks ago. Forgot it did it. Yeah, right. Like there's so many times where I think I forgot I've rezzed to res him a virus for damage when I should have. Shout out Andrew. That's really good. Fermenter is too good indeed. Let's ban and bring back Rezeki. We didn't have to do that. Been good. Thanks. Thinking whether to cast or play the next AMT. Yeah, you can't do both. There is a trade-off there. That's for sure. When is the next AMT? Is the next AMT just Continentals? Yo, Astro Channel, how's it going? Rip Sandbox based magnet. Strength 7, which feels like only as strong as the traces. Not that Virus Anarch is rich, yeah. I like that you say back in the day when the Hive Mind deck really only emerged like a year ago. Oh yeah, but like that's a rotation ago. It's not like really, really old. No, there was a Hive Mind deck, Pat, back in the day. It was the one that ran that thing that said you cost advancements cost 1 more. There was a really old Hive Mind deck back in like 2016 that was very, very good. But yeah, you're right. Is Freedom good now? Maybe. 15th is the next AMT. Oh, I didn't know that. Magnet seems good to counter bots. Yeah, Magnet is the thing that people do to counter bots. Like, check out this, the deck list of the front page. For God's sake, put Magnet in your Zamari. This is basically someone saying, like, I just put Magnet in this deck, and like now your botchless matchup is not messed up, right? The more you play in any format, you'll basically start to internalize this toolbox of 1 influence cards that are very good into specific things. And then if you find yourself, you have a deck with like 2 influence, 3 influence, 1 influence left over, you'll be able to slot them in and out. And Magnet like very much falls into that category of a card that Anarchs can struggle to deal with, and they might not be that good at finding consistently their decoder. So they can't botchless through this. That's quite nice. So yeah, it's good. Magnet's good. People like Magnet. Hey, Ben. Oh, Feeble. Thanks for the game earlier. I learned a lot. Hey, cheers. Thank you for the game. You were the first Sable, the Sable playing first in Standard, if I'm not mistaken, right? How's it going? Next AMT was right next to the other announcement. That'll do it. There's a Blackmail Hive Mind Val. I don't remember that one. Yeah, Pat, that's the one. There was a deck back in the day that was playing Chicana, and Chicana said, whenever you make a successful run on R&D, place a virus counter. If there are at least 3 virus counters on Chicana, the advancement requirement of all agendas is increased by 1. And so you would play this and just get all the virus counters on it. And if you're playing like a fast advance deck, good game, I guess. Yeah, I lost really hard to this. It was the same deck that I managed to do. I think it turned out to be like 22 net damage with a single Merlin. Yeah, okay, Ben, welcome to the game. Welcome to Standard. I think you took the hard-hitting news play like an absolute champ. A lot of people really don't like that card because it's just like, oh, you interacted, I lost the game, which is arguably true, but it rotates. But welcome to standard. A lot of flexibility. I think you're going to have a fair bit of fun running with Sable. If you keep your money up, of course, that's the big thing. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate. So you load this up to 3. Yeah, you load it up to 3, or you just load the hive mind up to 3. And then every card you have is loaded up to 3. Buckle up. And then they can't purge this really easy because it has a progenitor, and progenitor says when you purge the hosted virus, it doesn't lose all its virus counters. So you only have to get it up to 2. It's like, it was a combo. Can't whoop us. That's the one. It's the most popular deck list, I think, on Netrunner DB is this deck list. You can find it. Oh, we're playing Shaper now. What have we done? Best way to learn is get my teeth kicked in. One way to figure out the meta. Yeah, as much as Spark isn't exactly the meta, and that's why the deck is like notable because somebody played something weird, hard-hitting news is definitely meta. So yeah, it is the easiest way to play around it, is to be like, oh, what happened? How do I play around it? And having your money up is really important for that. I've been working on a little something. Keep out Jinteki instead of kill Jinteki. It's been going well in lobbies. Like Nisei Mark II. I wonder how good Nisei Mark II is in Endurance, but like Nisei Mark II is such a fun card. I wish I saw more Nisei Mark II. That to me is like core memory Netrunner. Okay, so today what we want to do is we want to build some Shaper. There is this kit deck that won a tournament in London, and the economy package is Anacom and prepaid voice pad. And I just want to play more of that economy package because I think event-based Shaper is actually really cool. I think we're just going to play lat because I value card draw and I'm kind of boring, but we can always take that a look at it and see what we want to do. But I want to basically see what the event package is in Shaper. We're not going to play Aesop's Pawn Shop. We're going to play something closer to that encoder deck that we talked about maybe a week ago, which is like Anacom, prepaid, and maybe the twinning if we need to, but we'll see how we spend influence. You can try the deck that recently published the one in London. Oh, I watched Jeff play it last night, and I don't know. It's a really strange deck, and I'm surprised how it won in the meta that it played in. It basically is just throw in Maker's Eyes with additional like multi-access to it. It's probably really weak to tags. It can't at all contest any assets. So like I don't fully get it. Maybe you can overclock assets intelligently. I'm not sure, but it's definitely not the way that I'd build it, and I'd be interested to play it at some point, but I don't know. I think what we're going to do tonight. That was my sentiment to make Nisei work again. Hell yeah. Okay, so the basic things I want to do too is I want to challenge some assumptions. So I think Anacom is such a powerful card in this deck because it says the first time each turn an event is trashed, which will be after it's resolved, or if it's trashed to damage, we get to draw 1 card. That's really nice because now we take an event economy package and we translate it also into a draw economy package. And Shaper event packages, classically, that was not a thing in old Netrunner, but modernly in Netrunner that does exist. There's a lot of good Shaper events, so this seems good. Now, generally, most consoles don't end up as a 3x slot, but I'm going to try playing in this deck as a 3x slot on the basis that it is that good. Now, getting our card draw up as soon as possible is really important, especially if the meta is fast enough. We're going to do 3x. Now, the next card I want to do 3x, which this one is a bit more dubious, is Prepaid Voice Pad. Now, the closest card we have to this in the modern format is Ghost Tongue. And Ghost Tongue is a 3x in basically every ESA deck. And that's because not only does it fire Sabotage and replace itself, and you can play more than 1 copy of it and it'll be okay, but it just gets you a lot of money. I'd argue there's a lot of times in ESA where you only play 1 event a turn. There's still a fair few times you play more than 1 event a turn, but I'm wondering if we actually can go ahead and play 3 copies of this and get this down consistently enough that, again, every turn we're playing an event for 3 credits cheaper. Again, we have to make sure our events cost something. We probably don't play all 3 prepads. We probably functionally only play 2, but then we're drawing cards and we're doing that prepaid Kate idea. Now, the one thing that we have to watch out, though, the big difference with Prepaid Kate back in the day, and this is the kind of deck that we're replicating here, is that Prepaid Kate had a reset button, and we don't have a reset button. So back in the day, you had Levy, AR Lab Access, and this sort of deck got so much value from playing these cheap events turn after turn, is that once you've gone through your deck, you can reset your deck. And this card is relatively expensive, but if you get 5 card draw with this, and you only pay 2 to 3 credits because of the prepaids, it's actually really sick. And then your deck is shuffled, and then your deck is only events because you installed all your hardware already. So your deck is just economy and card draw. So it was kind of like the most gas you could play in a single game of Netrunner. It felt so good. And modernly, we don't have this. The closest thing we have in Shaper is a card I really don't like, which I don't even remember the name of. I want to search dogs. I'll search medical happy dogs. Will that get there? Hey, Minstrel, Synthland, I don't think we need to do that. I don't think gaining additional clicks is like that. Like, so this is the thing about SynthClan, right? It gives you an additional click a turn. You can probably just play Beth, and like Beth is so much cheaper to play and just overall a better card. I would argue that like I don't know if I ever want to play Synth Client. You could. I don't know. Losing 2 cards from hand feels really bad. Harmony Hair Lab Therapy. Thank you. Thank you. Tunnel vision. So we have Harmony AR Therapy, and like, cool. This is not Levy AR Lab Access. It's not. It's so much worse. It's really bad on tempo because it doesn't draw you cards. It's not a card you want to play in the first like half to 3/4 of the game. It just doesn't do anything. So as Thanos pointed out, I think the more obvious thing we want to do is basically DJ Fenris and then be Steve, and then just get cards back with Steve. That's probably good enough. PPVP is fun. It really is. It is really quite fun. PPK also had better event-based draw in general, although Anacom is nice. Yeah, they do, but like we can play like obviously Diesel, we can play Nuka. I don't think we're that worried about the draw, but yeah, you're right. Definitely back in there, you had better burst draw. I don't know if you even play VR Occasion. That card doesn't exist anymore, does it? So let's play as many events as makes sense. We'll start with some basics. Dirty Laundry. Sorry, Diesel. Apparently I clicked that. We'll do 3 Sure Gamble. We have to figure out where the Breaker Suite is. That's the part that's really challenging because like what's this Breaker Suite? I don't know. I want Harmony to work, but it just does not. Steven, how's it going? It just doesn't do anything. Like, shuffling, it's just do something with your click. Just draw through your deck. It's better. Dirty Laundry. I think we're going to leave it there. But what else are we doing? If we're playing 3 Overclock, which we probably do, I think we have to play self-modifying code. But like, what right now, for all you Shaper players, is a Shaper Breaker Suite? What is the Shaper Breaker Suite? Without saying Propeller, what is the Shaper Breaker Suite? Also, what other events can we play? Creative Commission is sick. This card is just apparently not old enough to come in the recommendations. That's weird. What else do we really want to play? Like, we're at the point that we consider playing Into the Depths. It's kind of marginal. We might not have charge targets, but like when you play this with prepaid voice pad, it's better. Yeah, we're going to import other stuff. I think that's right. I think you did play Maker's Eye and prepaid Kate. We'll play 2 of them. That'll be fine. 3X Harmony is so much value though. PE flexibility. I guess so, but at that point, like, can we just play Caldera? Turbine, Ngolo, Cleaver. 2X Into the Depths, Ngolo, and Prayers. No run requirement? I know there's no run requirement, but then there's also like a do nothing requirement that upsets me. All right, well, we could put it Into the Depths and we'll cut it if we get. Propeller, Oiler, Ngolo, Echelon, but Jeff, you said Propeller. We said we couldn't. All right, if we look at hardware here, again, we're not going to try and build a really greedy late game hardware package with like Cyberdeli and stuff. The only thing that I'm really interested in is how many copies of Simulchip do you play? I feel like you probably play at least 1 because if we're lending self-modifying code, we have some flexibility with that. I think we can probably play 1. I feel like we can probably play Atman. People just don't play Atman anymore. I think Atman's probably fine right now. Vulcan, Cleaver, and Turbine if you want to spin influence. Oh, I think I like that a fair bit. So Paperclip, Boogalter, Cleaver though instead of Paperclip. If we have 3 Overclock, I think we like Paperclip a fair bit. As much as like as I'm seeing this doesn't feel like it does that much. Oiler and the prepaids, Hushik might work with a Boomerang or something. I guess it depends on our costs, but I think it's pretty hard. I don't think we install more than 2 prepaids, so it's maybe a bit dubious. Let's do a single Ngolo. That takes up 2 MU. We got to watch out. That's a problem. Nanotech. I don't know, Dajin. I think I don't love Nanotech more than I like Echelon. I feel like you just run into so many awkward situations unless you get your what's it called down, your K2CP, right? Like you just can't deal with all the 3 cost sentries. Turbine, Ngolo, Paperclip. Do we just play Buzzsaw though? Is this game in print still? Calabosks. Yeah, totally. It's not like in boxes and stores, but like, yeah, they print Netrunner cards. You can order them from the Null Signal Games website, and they're sick. There's a new set coming out later this summer. Inversificator, Turbine, go for Glory. At that point, though, I'd probably just play Kit. Buzzsaw, Echelon, Cleaver, and Turbine is fine. I feel like if we do play Buzzsaw here, like we just run into huge issues if we ever have to break a DNA tracker. We just have huge problems there if we have to do that. But like that's technically an efficient breaker suite, so let's just add some resources. I like Buzzsaw myself, but I'm used to Startup. Yeah, in Startup, there are no code gates above 5 strength, if I'm not mistaken. There are a couple, mind you, and I think all the big code gates rotate out of the next rotation. You can do Euler, Gauss, Simulchip, yeah, but that's a different build. I feel like you're right, Centraling. If we do that, we probably want to build like some sort of Reaver Aesops thing. All right, Beth, you can play that as a one of no problem. Nuka, you could consider. We need more events. We definitely don't have enough events. I don't think there's any other thing that I really want to play. I think we could arguably play like 2 Stone Chip. I think it's just fine. It's like whatever. 3 Telework is okay. Maybe that goes against a resource package, but it's a lot of money on a single card. And in some matchups, maybe you can argue that's okay. Maybe you can argue that's beyond the point of this. So we have to run more events. How bad is it to run Ngolo and Buzzsaw? Pretty bad. How bad is it to run? I just keep wanting to run Hyperbaric. To be clear, any card from FFG aside from reprint like Sure Gamble is not in print anymore. It must be ordered as a print and play. Yes, but like, I see what you mean. They're not like in massive print distributed to stores, but like they professionally print them. All right. I drafted this a while ago and I was unironically on smoke because there was really not enough events in my opinion. I feel like there's way more events than this and we probably have to spend some influence. So like we'd play 3 Deuces Wild. How's it going, by the way, Sweet? We can probably do that. Do we have enough targets for rigging up? Probably not. I'd be surprised if we do. We don't get any value off the charge. I don't mind this card without the charge, but I think I'm in the minority there. But a lot of times, like, we're using our SMC, so we probably have to get around that. Networking is in the other deck, but like not this one. It doesn't actually do anything with Anacom. We play a Misdirection on that note. We probably play a Clot. Hey, what's your thesis, Robert? We're trying to play PrePaid Shaper. How's it going? We need more events. I'm not running the whole crowd of people who are like, you know, just put bravado in everything. Like, I'm not that. Just trying to build a playable Shaper deck. Yeah, but a straightforward playable Shaper deck. One that even I can play. So we play Harmony AR Therapy. Good old Deuces. Yeah, Deuces is great. We'll play Deuces. I think there's a chance that we can try to drop Stone Chip for Beth. Fenris. Oh, yeah. Sorry. We forgot about Fenris. Fenris is really good because we want to play events. We need a couple more cards. Overclock seems decent. Yeah, I think Overclock is pretty good. I think Jailbreak is on. I just searched decent. Wow. I think Jailbreak is like on the cusp of being okay because right now we have literally no multi-axis. I think we have to sort that problem out. Legwork could go with our Vent multi-axis. Legwork was like a key one-of card in most of these decks. But I feel like for influence, unless we like drop the Buzzsaw, which like we probably could get away with, we probably just play like Jailbreak. Oh, Pinhole. Yeah, David, how's it going? Pinhole is also like important. Okay. Let's pretend we have fast events and then we don't need it until we need it. Pinhole 2. What are we thinking about? We have 3 Overclock. We need HQ pressure. Maybe we can just play like a DECKLISTS pass. Cut a Buzzsaw. Is this a deck? Is this enough economy? Is this what a Netrunner deck looks like? Check. 5. Reset 5. Yeah, that's good, right? I feel like we're not maximizing a particular card. I'm worried to know what card that is. So here, like, yeah, easy. Matching their hand size is going to be important, right? Like Diesel, Gamble, Tello, or Creative. Fine, draw card probably. I'm partial to Jailbreak. Yeah, I don't mind Jailbreak because we actually have like very little multi-axis. We have 2 Maker's Eyes. That's it. I just worry that like we're not that good at getting set up that quickly. 2 SMC, that's probably enough. Let's just try this and try and play control maybe. This opening hand's also pretty okay. I think the Stone Chip chart room is like pretty suspicious. We could probably just like do more economy there if we wanted to. Hushik is right there. Yeah, but we don't have Hushik, right? Like what cost are we Hushiking at? We have 1, 2, a 3, a 0, a 1. Doesn't make any sense. Prepaid and DECKLISTS maybe. Anacom is a 3. Silent Chip is a 1. No, it doesn't really do anything. Give into it. It just doesn't work. We just don't have any. We have no cards that line up Hushikly. Control without Stargate. Yeah. Yeah, you can control without Stargate. So here we have to do like Sure Gamble, Prepaid, Sure Gamble, draw, get a free card draw. This seems good. Worth it to try a deep dive. I think you're right. I think a single deep dive is probably more impactful. I honestly think we cut the Stone Chips. Nuka for the Stone Chips? We could. I'm hoping that we have enough event draw that we don't have to do that, but I do think a single deep dive is like a nice thing to lean on. And then we can play our favorite Shaper card. 1-of Jailbreak. I will hate to hold this Maker's Eye in the early game. I don't want a Maker's Eye in my opening hand, do I? I really don't. What is a Shaper card we like? Palangi? Yeah, we'll play a Palangi. It's a Palangi. Now you can do cool stuff. Polongi voice pad. Nuka's good for hand lat management. It is, yeah. The same way that like the other thing is. Arguably better is actually Stone Chip, I think. I think I just have Stone Chip on my mind because of the paid ability window video. All right, let's see what we can do. Oh, we're really bad into assets, admittedly. Like, probably we can play a single. This is why all Shaper decks end up to be the same. But like, you can play a single copy of like any asset hate card. Probably what's it called? The one with the water, Prisha. No jailbreak? Nah, for now. Gregory, how's it going? We'll see if we're missing out on if we feel that we are missing out on multi-axis. What I mean is more that this feels like a wannabe good stuff deck that isn't trying to exploit the power of any particular card, but the Shaper card pool isn't very good stuff. I'd argue that the Shaper has a lot of individual good stuff, but where it falls apart is like the consistency of things like the Breaker Suite. Right? Like, honestly, the Shaper event package is pretty sick. I think Onacom is a sick card. Beth is a sick card. Individually, these are the best breakers in the game. So yeah. Pre-show voice pad. Oh, that's Rob. How's it going, man? 1x pre-show. We'll just not run into we just won't find assets today. Just no assets here. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. But like, we'll be okay, I hope. I think the plan was to exploit Onacom. Not sure yet if we have something we will achieve. We have a lot of events. I think this is the person I conceded to last time, and they weren't happy with me. Why does this happen? Is this just a rule when you start to play a new deck, you just queue into PE every time and then you can't play the deck? Yeah, I know this is Grinder. They played like Trap Grinder, like Maganga Grinder. Hey, thanks. You too. This is like the most upsetting part about like trying out a new deck is like you just play into PE. And for those who are uninitiated, decks like this, like your hit points matter so much more than your cards being efficient or doing anything interesting that like you just don't play your deck. You just click for credits. And that's my disappointment about Personnel Evolution. Is this hand good enough? I guess we have a one Beth. A whole bit is fine. We don't have Stargate. It's on us, I guess. Good night, Brennan. Do you ever ask if it's Grinder? No. Because a lot of players won't want to tell you that, but like we'll access the Maganga off the top of R&D or like a Nightmare Archives, and we'll be like, okay. New title, much focus live, no Grinder plays. Not allowed to play game one with a new deck without queuing into PE. Well, hey, looks like maybe they're scoring out. They have 9 credits. That's a lot of money for a Jinteki deck. We'll see. This could easily be right like any of the other type of Jinteki. Do we ever play Diesel? I'm gonna play fast and loose. Onacom is really good into Jinteki. Let's do that. Yeah. Can't kill us now. We get free card draw. You can tell pretty quickly if they're on actual Grinder. Yeah. If this is like a Stinger House of Knives push, if they score an Obokata here, we're happy. Yeah. It's probably Grinder. So we lost the deuces. You're on 6 credits. We can't even deep dive to steal an Obokata. Let's figure out a bit about HQ. If they just start pinging with this, yeah. So in theory, we should always draw here so we can threaten an Obokata. I tried introducing a friend to Netrunner by having us both make new startup decks, and he just brought a PE Grinder deck for me to play into Aggro Tau. It was so disheartening, but your friend had a good time. That was the point, right? Yeah, I'm just playing fast and loose here. Yeah, okay. Well, at least it replaced itself. Okay. Well, now they have no economy. All right, once we access a card, you need to draw to 6 to threaten Obo. Well, if they fire this, they fire this. And if it hits an Onacom, we're still on 5. So, sort of. I think you need to be given the concede without Grinder. And oh, wow. That's really good for them. You don't see that often. And I think they need the money here. So we need to trash that. We've lost 1 copy of our pinhole threading. So what's the worst this can be? If it is a Saisentan, we die. And that's fine. Yeah, they need the money for the next scenario. No, but they just need money. The difference between them having 8 credits or not is so different. Yeah, okay, this is Grinder. This is Grinder. So you and the runner secretly spend 0, 1, and 2 credits. Reveal spend credits. If you and the runner spend a different number, do 2 net damage. Yeah, I don't. Deuces, I don't want to play the card. Like, this card is not really good in terms of cards gained. It's like no different than clicking for a credit, right? So we have to play a side game. I'll just pay 0. I don't care. Wait, what? Why did we get net damage? Oh, because it always does net damage. Of course. Why people put Grinder on JNet? Because they enjoy it. It's fun. You don't enjoy playing Grinder every once in a while? Like, it's fun. Doing net damage is fun. Side games are fun. Like, I get it. It's just like, I unfortunately can't say anything intelligent about the deck. Okay. I'm just going to run that. In theory, I should have 4 credits. I'm going to overclock it. If it is like, what's it called? Mwanza City Grid, so be it. But like, here they'll gladly pay 2 credits to do a single net damage. All right, at least their House of Knives is done. Yeah, okay, what are they? Like, yeah, that's... Do we do it? Obviously we don't. But in theory, if we had the Onacom trigger, we could do it. Do you think they're a Blood on the Water gamer? We're not even like paying attention to where our breakers or our simul chip is. We're just going. We're just going along. I actually enjoy running to them, kind of like playing mono red, just get burned to get burned. I think that mentality is like really common on JNet. So a lot of people play their Jinteki net on Jinteki.net and be like, oh, it has 100% win rate. And then they play in person and then, like, people are measured and like, you know, start to really care about it. No breakers, just vibes. So what do we lose already? We lost our paperclip. That's fine. Our misdirection doesn't bind. Our turbine is whatever. Like, I don't think they actually have ice that we can break. We couldn't go it, but like the economy of that doesn't make sense. They probably should be running Tithe or like Anemone at like Anemone says do damage on it. That seems important. But like, you notice how none of our cards matter? Sneak Door, how's it going? I'm doing okay. Just smashing stuff. They're going to score out another House of Knives or something. Credit. Like, we have no interest in playing our cards. All the cards matter. You got 25 HP. Yeah. Oh, that's neat. There have historically been competitive and or enjoyable grinder strategies in the games. Your judgment? ODO, playing Grinder into this meta seems extraordinarily fatalistic and boring. I think also playing Grinder specifically into this meta is like a really bad thing to do competitively. Again, a lot of people play for fun, but on the basis that like there are 70 card Hoshiko decks out there. But like, you notice the decisions we're making? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, we're not making decisions. We're just seeing how many cards we have in hand. Okay, send it. All right, just unconditional destruction. I'll hit the top of R&D. Probably they don't have a, what's it called, Blood in the Water in hand. Because we might end up with like only 2 cards in hand. The Sadaka is a mean card. It was a meta card at some point. There's certain metas where there's like specific like resources that like burn into your strategy. Film Critic we talked about today. That's a big one. I guess Caldera. Okay, so we win off another Obocado. Let's just draw up. Yo, I might send the Maker's Eye, let's be honest. I would draw Maker's Eye. I'd do it. Oh, I'd still do it. So we know they have a Magong, the Sadaka in hand. So we probably could consider running this. I kind of like draw makers. How bad is it to him, Lindsay, or to him once? It's pretty bad. But like, no matter what, we have too many cards in our hand. The worst part here though is we just literally cannot trash the, we can't afford to trash the thing. But like, I'm just gonna do this. There's a chance we take enough damage and we die to a sting or whatever, but like, seems fun. So let's see if this is something worse than a Hokusai. It could be a Mwanza, which would like, we'd be pretty disastrous. They would break the credit total. They didn't even res it. Maybe it's a price sec. What? What? Bladderwort? Okay. Just give me an Obokata. Maganga? Okay. Hokusai, great. It's a price sec. Okay, so we're tagged. We know that they don't have tag punishment in hand. We're not going to trash that. We have too many cards. We don't need the prepaid. Yeah, we can use the overclock to trash the price sec, I guess, or the Hokusai. I'd probably play that than the sure gamble. Oh no, they're on tempo grinder. Yeah, I wonder now if they like, oh man, imagine they res their, what's it called, the Bladderwort? I think it might just be every card this is where net damage on it. So what did they draw into there? Maganga? So they have Maganga, Bladderwort. So we know that's a Bladderwort. So that's going to be a damage. It's so different. We know the top deck of the deck is something. Look at us throwing at HP. You'd hate to see it, Gregory, but we assumed we would have connected with one agenda. I kind of want to check archives. I wonder if it's a Nightmare Archives. They did set up something. I wonder if there's, like, we have to respect. I'm just going to go ahead here and respect Regenesis. Top deck is Hokusai. Yeah, right. I'm going to attempt to run archives. But you just have to respect Regenesis. It might be a nightmare. It's fine. It's a virus. That's okay. That card says net damage on it. All right, well, we have to take this down. We just click for credits. Maybe we should get DJ down for more HP. We're tagged, though, so it's not going to last long. Like, we have to do a bunch of things in order for that to stick. I think we ideally do. It is sick hit points. It's just like we don't have a huge incentive to run HQ. Eventually we will. But like if they don't do anything quickly, yeah, maybe. So the reason we check archives is Regenesis. So they have an unknown in hand. That might be just a price sec or Hokusai. Again, just grinding. We have 19 hit points left. We just have to steal Nobokata. So that could be a Hokusai. Or they have a Hokusai in hand. It is one of the two extremes. What are y'all thinking? I think we just run R&D. I think we do draw, run R&D. We're sure that's Maganga, right? Like that doesn't, it does one net damage, maybe two. They can't afford to continue to pay for the price sec. Unless that is a Rashido or a economy card. All right, so that just fires. So it either does one net damage or two net damage. We're just gonna pay 0. If they pay 1, they didn't. So just 1 net damage. We drew a card. Breach. Card from deck. Snare. Okay, we had too many cards in hand. That's fine. Now they can't fire the price sec. They also have no money. So we can safely run server 2 here. Could we? I don't think we can. If the Rashida, it's really bad for us. I think we want to win. We clear tags. No. We're doing it our way. So if we run server 2, if it's an agenda, what's the worst agenda for us? A sting is fine. I think we can check this, right? They can't res. Nothing hurts us besides agendas. So we know their hand is Hokusai into the other thing. The agendas. So it's a Hokusai. Okay, so we know that's a Hokusai. It is a sting. So that leaves us on 2 cards in hand. So now we win off of... Got him with the lad fire. So now we don't know 2 cards in hand. They can't fire snare anymore. We do draw. This damn Bagalter has been holding on for dear life. So we need access with 6 cards. So we do draw and we just run R&D. They can't continue to pay for this price sec. Oh, we'll take the core damage. No problem. Lat is broken. They didn't pay for it. Okay. So we have 4 hand size. Oh, okay. That hurts a bit. We'll keep the diesel. Dude, how many more Maker's Eyes do we have? We have 1 more Maker's Eye in the deck. That's how we win. They have 2 more snares. They also drew into an unknown card. That is one of the downsides. You think this ice ends the run? So we know that's on top of a Hokusai. And they advanced it. I think we run advanced cards. Like unconditionally. The most they can get is 7 credits here. So with 7 credits, we can die. What do we know in hand? We know one of the ice in the hand. That could be the ice that we think we know in hand. And then there's one card that we don't know. So we definitely draw once. So I think we run HQ. Diesel into makers. Yeah, but this might actually end the run. I like your style, though. I thought about it for a minute, and it seems like the right play. What do they single advance other than the traps, though? I don't know, but like single advancing a trap is really expensive. They can't fire the one that does core damage because it costs 3 credits. So I think it's probably what's it called? An NGO front. This is probably Sadaka. I'm hoping it's a Sadaka. Yeah, it is an NGO front. That makes sense. So they have 7 credits here. So we survive a lot of things. With 7 credits, the breakpoint is like maybe it's a Sisenton. It's an anemone. That's fine. Our Onicom hasn't triggered. Oh, it has triggered. So we actually. We're 1 card short, but if we steal Nobukata, we win. We finally lost our Bugalter, so we have no more breakers. So we just have to access the price tag after we win off the Obukata off the top. Spin? Okay. Aiki? Okay. All right, we're down to 3 cards. We run HQ. So we can steal 1 more Obukata. That is the Sadaka. Oh, we knew that, right? Because we knew this was there. So they threw an unknown card. We should have ran archives there. We did it. We took so much damage for no reason. But like, the worst part now is, what was that off the top of the deck? We should have known what that is, right? Concede and go for a real game? No, we'll get 1 more access. We'll get 1 more access R&D. What was that off of R&D? Oh, it's a spin doctor. Now we approach GG. I don't know what you're talking about. So that was a spin doctor. Okay. Bruno, how's it going? So we just do draw credit. Like, I like that. Now we approach GG. Like a grand master there. Abiding their time as we face check into their anemones. Okay, so we didn't trash the NGO, right? We did. So the top of the deck is unknown. Okay. Yeah, incredible BM. I think that is BM. I don't like that. Like, I'm just smashing into your stuff because I want the game to be over. That's also BM, though. So, like, I got to keep myself in check. So, like, the most we can access on R&D is with 3 cards in hand. That's a problem. They have snare money. They have an ice there. Did we see what the ice was? I think we think it's a Maganga, right? What was the ice we saw? My memory's totally bad. Yo, how's it going, Cinderin? Hey, Netrunner friends, how you doing? It was an Aiki, potentially? Aiki we saw? So that means this is 4 more damage. Okay, well, I think we're just going to send it then. We'll keep a click to run archives, I guess. Having a shitty week. Don't want to bring y'all down. Oh, it's okay, man. You can talk about it. Hopefully you're doing better. It usually gets better. It almost always gets better. It gets better always. I think you know that. Okay. So we have 1 more access here, and we can still win. We have to steal a 2-pointer. This doesn't matter. This does nothing. Well, besides the damage it does. That's bad. Yeah, we should have conceded a long time ago. But, like, we had a chance. Like, it's just a slot machine now, let's be honest. They're going to, like, shuffle back with their Spin Doctor 2 snares, and then we're going to run HQ. Like, we shouldn't have clicked for credit, because if they run a Spin Doctor, we can run HQ. We just let everything fire. This deck has no 2-pointers left in it. It might be a Blood on the Water. It might not be. It might be. I feel like we might have seen Blood in the Waters in the deck. Shit. We die. This person's not on Blood of the Water? Okay, price that kills us. Good game. Thanks for the game. All right. Don't like to play that. Let's be honest. That we don't play our deck. We just play our hit points. The villains, no, we can't say that. But yeah, maybe they're not on Blood of the Water. It doesn't say net damage on it. That tracks. To be honest, good thing that it is GG instead of continuing. Yeah, well, we do have 1 more run. It's really hard at that point because, like, we can't run to Anemone anymore. We can't run through Central Ice. So, like, we just click for credits and run HQ once. If there is a Spin Doctor, there's a bit of a risk there. But yeah, if there's no more 2-pointers, that was impossible to win. But yeah, I don't know. You obviously can play that much more intelligently. Like that's not what we do. It's just like the amount of effort, and then you're not supposed to play your deck it doesn't feel good. It's weird though. It's like very consistently we always run into P grinder after we build a new deck. Okay, we have Claude in the deck. This is a fun matchup. This is going to really tax how fast we go. We have an opening hand of Sure Gamble, Prepaid Sure Gamble. I don't think we're really excited to get prepaid value, but the fact that we have the DECKLISTS Pass in our hand might be the best thing we have there. Thanks, you too. Let's see if this is like the sort of core damage version that's more popular as of the last 2 weeks. I didn't think I understood the version, but that version actually doesn't fast advance. So not having or having Clot as we do is not going to be that big of an upside or downside. I forgot which side we were on. So like this hand is playable, but like we can do better, right? Yeah, let's go. That's not better much, is it? So this is the thing that's really difficult. Understanding if you just send a Maker's Eye turn 1 into Sports Metal, it's only the right play if you connect with a Luminal. Otherwise, it's the wrong play. The nice thing, though, is we have a DECKLISTS here, so we're largely just going to set up, maybe get an Axis, and see if we can land up our hand size. But admittedly, if we steal an agenda, they draw 2. Okay. I see. She's doing something cool. So NPD Corden, everything costs money. We just want to end in 3 cards in hand, and hopefully she does something. But this is kind of neat. This is a card we definitely want to trash from central servers. So let's plan our turn. We want to do these 2. So let's draw to see if we get installable. Not really, but that means we can start with this one. So no lat today. So we can get to 5 cards in hand. I think telework is slower. That we probably just want to do Sure Gamble into creative, and then we can eventually deal with Cordons when we'll have more money. Yeah, that's really cool. This card's neat. Her spending a click is probably pretty reasonable. If that has to be a Luminal for this to be sick. Oh, that's fine. I think we're okay with that. She does nothing else. Okay, so here we can check server 2. We can slam a Docklands. We can check HQ. I think we'll do that. This wasn't res though, so like I don't know what the heck that is. It sounds like a Mega Pre. But we definitely want to get accesses so we can trash those Cordons. It's a Tranquility. We trash those. If we were confident, we could have overclocked that. According to score Hyperloop, not worth it. Yeah, but she's probably just playing the hand she has. But oh, that's obviously not it. But yeah, that is definitely strange. I was worried that it would be something closer to Luminal, or even just a Vitruvius would be fine. Or Seamless into a 4-2 even. Subsidy? Shit, money. NAPD, we'll trash that. So that makes sense. It made sense that she probably had 2 Cordons there. We'll install this for lat draw. I wonder if this deck is on punitive or something. We've seen 1-pointers, but like that's a lot of yeah. That's government subsidy. You don't often see that in these sort of lists. She's definitely doing something cool. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious if she plays that on turn 1 that she had a second in hand. So 2 of those are down are good, because that might be the unfair thing this deck can do. I like this card. Iced up R&D, nice. Iced up HQ, nice. So what are the face checks we're worried about? A drafter could return something. I think we can go HQ. We know, what did we see from hand? Man, my memory is absolutely messed up today. It was Corden into... Who's playing this game? How do I not remember what we saw like a second ago? Let's force her to spend some credits. Oh, subsidy. Yeah, the thing that we mentioned. Oh, that's nice. So if she draws 2 cards here, we'll be closer to getting our ability, which is nice. And also if she draws here, we're going to continue to access cards, which is ugly. That's a Managarm. We have Pinholes, and we can trash this. I think we will, just to like, it turns off her ability. Maybe not. We ran first click there to respect Fairchild 3. She's on 9 credits though. Maybe that's big ice. But I think the play here is that she needs to do credit subsidy, and she's on 15, so I'm expecting really big ice. So unfortunately, Lat's off for a while. Might not have been a responsible trash here. All right, tell her credit. At least she's committed the first 2 ice essentials, so the remote server play seems strange. Or difficult, I mean. And we'll just do that. Yeah, it's an interesting sports deck. Let's see what happens. Credit, Gov, 1 card in hand. See if she reses a tier. That would kind of be the player there, right? But I don't think there's any ice she can res, because I think she wanted to play the subsidy. Let's find out where our faces is. And again, we want to make sure we have 3 clicks left, because if it's like a Fairchild 3, we have to spend 3 clicks through it. All right. This is a pretty bad axis, honestly. Gatekeeper. Okay. Information. All right, we want to continue to set up. Unfortunately, we don't have an event that is worth playing because the Onicom, so we'll draw one, and she is playing well under our lad ability. That she won't stay like that forever. I feel like we can probably tempo down an Onicom here and then maybe Diesel next turn. And this will draw us 4 cards. You hate to play this the turn it doesn't do anything, but like, you just got to set up what you have. I think she has to spend a couple clicks here drawing. Yeah, okay, good. So she's more likely to res on HQ here. We know Gatekeeper, we don't know that. I think we just overclock that because we don't exactly care if it whiffs and it's a Spin Doctor. I don't think there's anything we really want to diesel into, so let's just send it here. We're expecting a Managarm. We're expecting I guess if it is like a, what's it called? We're in a bad spot. If it's a Hendrick. It's a Mega Pre. Okay, well played. Yeah. Overclock draws as a card. Prepaid. Maybe a bit too late, but she has 5 cards in hand. So we can afford to draw once, hit the money, play this money, and then next turn we can always do the prepaid if we want to. And we'll get a card here, of course. That's why we did that like that. Getting an SMC on the table is going to be really important because I think if she has a subsidy, she probably has Biotic as a score out. Maybe a Big Deal, actually. I think Big Deal would be more likely. It's just we haven't seen any 5-3s yet. And I don't think HB 5-3s are super stellar. You think that's a Gatekeeper? I think if we let the Gatekeeper fire, we're okay here. But I think here we just overclock the server, click 1. So we didn't play the prepaid, but we'll just go into server 4. If this whiffs, like, whatever, we pay a credit to draw a card. That's a fair price. I knew this guy would be here. This is fine. So the runner can spend clicks to break the subroutines on this tier. So one of them is 2 brain damage, one's trash installed runner card, gain 3 credit, one's end the run. I think there might be a ganked in here. I'm afraid there's a ganked in here. And if we click through this, she gains clicks on her turn. She only has 6 credits to do it. I think we respect, I don't think we respect this. I think we just go through this. The core damage is really, really bad for Lat. I'm going to click through it. She can have 5 clicks. We'll install we can install an SMC. And mind you, trash one installed runner card, that's her choice. Oh, excuse me. Let's just do it. Let's see what she can do with 5 clicks. But if this is a ganked, pretty spicy. So we'll try and access the non-ganked first. Superconducting hub. All right. Is a 1-pointer. Tranquility home grid. Okay, not punished. We gotta trash that. So now she has 5 clicks. We do get her lat draw, which is great. But she has, what is it, 6 clicks on her turn? Discard down to 5? Oh, because the Onicom. Yeah, but of course. We eventually do break this relatively well. I think we need the SMC. This is the problem, is like where the worst card in her hand is likely to be the prepaid voice pad. But again, of course, we have 2 more of them, so we can get away with that, right? Okay, so she has 6 clicks, so she can fast advance out of 5-3. It will cost her entire economy, so if she has like a Luminal here, that's 6. And again, she draws cards, so she can like just jam behind the tier every turn. How do we deal with it? All right, Mega Pre, nice. Unfortunately, her economy has collapsed, so we could maybe just make her Zai and do something about it, but she's on 3 points, 5 credits. Yeah, I guess she does score that, but she needs to jam in here every single turn. We're lucky that we've dealt with 2 of the Tranquilities because that would be hard to deal with from this point forward. I don't know if we can just make her Zai here. I think we just go for a single and try and suss out what the ice is because, again, Gatekeeper, Hagen, all that stuff is pretty bad. Shit. She's playing stock buyback. All right, let's run R&D. She drew a fair bit. Actually, we should run HQ here. We know a Gatekeeper, which is, we thought it was this. I think that could be the Gatekeeper. I like running HQ here, but I don't think she has agendas in HQ because she just jammed 2 agendas in a row. So I'm going to go R&D. Yeah, lol. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, it's a Meridian. Okay, cool. So now that makes sense. Definitely going to just take that as a negative point, unfortunately. Ice was down HQ and R&D before you saw the Gatekeeper. Is that true? All right, we're on 3 points. 1 buyback is out. How bad could it be? Drafter. That's how bad it could be. All right, so Maker's Eye will wait for next turn. The Drafter will come down. So we need to get an SMC. We played 2 overclocks. So 4 cards in hand. So unfortunately, the Creative Commission draws us a card, so it's like a bit harder to do as stuff, lat stuff, excuse me. So we always can do SMC, SMC Creative, and that will end us on 4. Onicom is not optional. Yeah, that's fine. Paperclip. So Gatekeeper and Drafter, the two ice we know. We need to score some more agendas, and there's only one more Beggar Pre, which would be good to find. Luminal as well. So that's probably the Drafter. What's the math to Begalter through a Drafter? Oh, could be Gatekeeper though, right? Ooh, this is bad. How can I guess you like that's the problem with these card ice. You just put a botulus on it, right? Like that's how you deal with this. Okay, so I think we just need to get our money up because I do think Begalter tier with what's it called gets into it. Sorry, Turbine Begalter is like probably breaks tier reasonably, and by reasonably I mean 5. Did we drop Clot? I'm pretty sure we did, Thanos. We're pretending we didn't. Let's get some money. Yeah. Okay. So, do we afford to prepaid? I think this will pay out sooner than the game is over. He is unsure about it. 2 cards in hand is not a lot of cards in hand. So here we can prepaid. We can dirty laundry with the prepaid. I'm just going to try and do the prepaid. I don't think it makes sense for the speed of the game. But we just need to get our money up. So we'll go archives here. Not a great run. She can win in 2 scores. That's the biggest issue. And then here we probably just hit the telework so we can throw out the paperclip. Not that we've seen a barrier so far. But Giordano is the one thing that we're really worried about server 4 because we've seen 2 tranquilities, 1 mana garm. So the options are closing a wee bit. I think we haven't seen a spin doctor yet. Uh-oh. Triple advance. Fine. Reasonable. So with this amount of credits, the only issue is that we are holding an Angolo. We are literally holding our Angolo. Otherwise, I think we need to lock the top of R&D as much as Sports Metal breaks lock, but I think we have to play the Angolo in case it's the Gatekeeper. But then our MU is full. We cut the Buzzsaw, right? Yeah. So we Maker's Eye and it's a Gatekeeper. What, can we break it? No, we can't. So we always can expose first and then run. Hope that's the Drafter. Yeah, let's do that. Your MU is over full with Angola. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I want to find out that this is a Drafter and run into it first. It's a toll booth. I'm totally okay with her rezzing a toll booth here. She didn't. That tracks. Rototurret. Okay. Here we'll draw cards. We're going to draw a card after this, but I think we just need to draw cards. Okay, that's good. We have a Simulchip, so we can do SMC shenanigans. We have a Plongi in the deck, actually, so we can just break anything. Well, Paperclip is hard to get to the table because Plongi is when you're encountering, I think. We want to hold off the prepaid. So here I think we SMC for... We have the SMC for something here. I think it's for the Begalter. This is a defensive upgrade. But I think we just have to break for a Begalter here. Nine. I don't know if we hold this to next turn. We definitely hit this. We can't go down to 3. Getting the Angola down is really expensive. We have good economy. Like this is a 5-click turn click next turn. So we have to get ready for war. Oh, this seems expensive. This seems expensive. I'm going to throw out, in theory, we can always throw out something like the Turbine to pull it back at instant speed. I think this card's actually super valuable because we're expecting Giordano, and that's the only thing that we can use to deal with it. But she has a Rototurret, a Gatekeeper somewhere, a Drafter in hand, so we know half of her hand. Half of her hand is Roto Drafter. And like, I don't think she rezzes those into Begalter. That could be the Roto. So next turn we do... Still send it, right? Heck yeah, we do. 2 cards in hand, so we don't know what those are, but if she had agenda, she would jam it. So we have to Maker's Eye here, really. So we're going to start with the Sure Gamble. Gain 5 credits, draw a card seems sick. I was going to say Overclock seems even better, but unfortunately, we have to play the Maker's Eye. We can win here, maybe. We have a click left for the other one. All right, we got to think about this. Turbine before the Eye. I think I want to play around Ikawa a bit because I think she's playing Big Deal, but maybe she's just playing Big Ice. Okay, so we have to paperclip here. We have to trash something with the SMC. We can definitely trash something with SMC. So we have to do this one on approach. So we messed up our window. This one's on approach. So, sorry, I goofed the timing. We can still do it. Give up the SMC. We're going to use the SMC. Make Meridian a code gate? No. Wow, we are financially ruined. So if she rezzes the turret, sorry, the toll booth, this probably was a bit too expensive, let's be honest. So if she rezzes the toll booth, we can always get through it for 3 plus 3. So we literally can't break this. Oh, shit. We shouldn't have played 3 for Plongi, huh? So we should have just trashed the SMC. Might have messed that up. Because this is probably a sentry, which, like, we break fine. And then for this, we need at least 6 credits. So we only spend 1 on this. Feel free to undo. We could always Plongi this and then, like, Bugalter it, which has cost us 2. That doesn't do it. Yeah, maybe because we wanted to use SMC this run, we should have overclocked. Hey, Pouch, how's it going? Finally catching you live. What's up? We're trying to play some, like, just standard PrePaid Shaper stuff. How are you doing? Nah, I'll just let this fire. I think that's the easiest way to solve all our problems. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I learned too much here. Plongi is nice when you have 1 breaker, but Turbine much better when you have access to all breakers. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the only argument is that you can use Plongi to, like, paint with Bugalter, but you're right. The Turbine here is worth, like, potentially 6 credits. So yeah, the Plongi was not worth it. We're going to add it to our score area. I hate to see that, but yeah. I think she's going to res some big ice with stock buyback. We're going to feel upset about this. This is really bad too. Like, it's very likely. Well, the good thing here is if she reses the drafter, she can't res the toll booth. So we only have to break 1 more. So if she wants to res the toll booth here, she can. She goes into 0, so she really needs to be holding a stock buyback for that to feel good. Or again, we'll steal agendas. She'll draw cards, gain credits, but yeah, I feel like this Plongi is not going to do enough. It lets us get through tier for 6, but Bugalter still is better with Turbine. Yeah, we should have just trashed it, save 3 credits. We'll keep track of whether this saves us 3 credits or not. Cool. She reses it. She's down to 0. As much as we're going to get some agendas here. Doing well. Thanks again for the boost to the mentor-mentee program. Yo, Pouch, I forgot to email you back. I should have and just been like, yo, what up? How's it going? But yeah, of course. Lots of more people signed up. Wait, for real? That's really cool to hear. So no matter how we break this, it costs 3. Unless we paint 4 or 5. No, it costs 3, no matter which breaker we use. That's really funny. So unfortunately here too, we cannot steal if there is an Aka while we were playing around. So like all in all, whoa. All in all, a pretty bet. That's good. It's real points. So if she draws, we know what she draws. She went for credits. Okay. Can we end with 2 cards? No. We just need money. Click for credit. Next turn, we have click list 5 credits run, draw a card. That's nice. Okay, it's going okay. I think we've played 1 Maker's Eye so far. So we know she has a DBS. Probably win in the remote server. So she can actually draw an unknown card. This always costs us 7 credits. Eventually, we can make it cost us 7 credits. Oh man, should we just play Botulus or what? A DJ Fenris here would be really nice. You're coming to Philly for it, right? No, unfortunately I can't. I don't have a password yet. That's something I need to sort out a long time ago, but I'm really excited to watch the stream. Do you know what it's being streamed on? Is Code doing it? Oh, that's good. Draw 2, gain 3. We'll get another card. Okay, Into the Depths is okay. We consider Into the Depthsing HQ. Ideally, we do that when it's free with prepaid voice pad. This is like the Pittsburgh toilet of our deck. It doesn't really make sense that it's here, but it is here. Code is doing it. Okay, cool. So now we have too many cards in hand. The Simulchip doesn't give us much access besides Clot, but I don't think she's going to be fast advancing out too soon. We could always run HQ. I think a DJ Fenris is the best card we have left in our stack here, besides like just, you know, any event economy play. Dirty Laundry would be totally fine. We played 2 Gambles, 2 Teleworks. So there's still a fair bit of money in the deck. We've been getting a credit turn from the prepaid. It actually is going to be okay. Okay. I think we just play this because we can. No, that can't be right. I think the simul chip is useless. I think we just credit. Maybe the simul chip is useful because we can discard the K2CP turbine and then it saves us two credits. That's pretty bad. Into the Depths is a dirty laundry. Yeah, but we have to run through ice and like we'd rather do it next turn. I think we just click 3 here. Like no joke. So we don't need this. I don't think. We don't need that for sure. And if she reses the DBS, she goes even poorer. So she just needs to dig into a stock buyback. Turbine saves 2 credits. Yeah, we definitely want Turbine. Do we straight up not have MU? No, because of the Plongi. Yeah, we paid 3 credits for the Plongi for no reason. We the only value of the Plongi is that we could trash it to simul chip, but we'll just install the Turbine. Or she didn't res what we thought was the DBS. It might not be. And she just drew mandatory the card we knew, which was... The heat is getting to me. It was a card that we saw. And a defensive upgrade goes on R&D. Did we see defensive upgrade? Why didn't we use the simul chip to do instead of save cash? I like did the math. I was like, if we install the simul chip and discard the turbine, it technically saved us credits, and then they just clicked for credits. Yeah, no. Yeah, we definitely should have. Do you have AC in Canada? We do. But like, it's still 41 degrees Celsius. So your AC is not going to do it. And I only have like a window system. Like this is an apartment. It's an old apartment. It's not like, you know, some bougie thing with like it built into every room. It is just like that window keeps us alive and 1 fan. All right, thinking. So what is the upgrade? It's just pinhole it, right? What part of Canada are you in? I'm in Montreal. Archives. 41 Celsius? You're kidding? Nope. Feels like 41. Wait, no. Maybe that is... No, that is... I think that's right. I think that's right. This is the Giordano, right? Yeah, there you go. We have to pinhole these. This is why you keep the other pinhole. Okay. We have a Beth. That's reasonable. Our economy here is a problem. So it's another turn that we don't really want to into the depths because we don't get our additional value. If we diesel, we're going to be on 7 cards. I think that's fine. Well, dirty laundry, I guess. Okay, that's useless. The second prepaid is probably not worth it. So again, we've got 4 credits off this prepaid. It's pretty good. So I think here we do... We could install the Beth. I think we do install the Beth. I think she will be another... It's just like how quickly does Summoner score out? Right, like, because this is basically going to be a Rezzing. It'll... No, as soon as she plays a... What's it called? Well, it'll be better than that. Stock buyback. I've only felt that in the desert. Yeah, it's a humidity thing. It's like it feels like 41 because we're by the water. It's really humid. It's brutal, yeah. Doesn't feel that long ago we were talking about ice storms. I know. Like literally, it is buck wild. Like we once went from a week that it was an ice storm. The next week was like 30 degrees Celsius. It's so absurd. Nice. Hey, Jenkins, I just want to say go out of Netrunner a while back. I got out of Netrunner around the time the game lost support, but love to see every one of your streams and the game is still live. Big fan. That's really kind. Yeah, the game is actually in a really great place right now. It's obviously, you know, there's an ups and downs to it. So if you're ever interested, you know where to find us. The game is good. But if you just like to hang out and see the streams, cheers. That's very kind. How's the fire situation in Quebec? It's not as spooky as it was, but I don't honestly know much more than that. Here we run HQ it into the depths. Dirty laundry with additional value. I think though if she had an agenda, she would have jammed it here though, right? So not the best run. We get to see 2 cards. I'm pretty sure that this, we know that 2 of them were ice. She hasn't discarded anything. So yeah, that we just get a free, like, what is it? 4 credits in a card draw. That's nice. Yeah, that's the one that we do. Yeah, Roto Turret, we expected that. Subsidy. All right. So next turn, she can't play this. So that might be like her next turn play for a minute. Again, this is 7, this is 3. So we really need to draw into our last Maker's Eye before that makes sense. We also at some point have to get the turbine down. We don't really need to show our hand now. We can't get down to 3 cards. I'll draw once and then we'll just click for credits. Oh, that's perfect. That's a really good top deck. Yeah, things are really bad. We did have like the worst air quality in the world for a day. For a couple days. It was really quite bad. But it hasn't been that bad since. I think I need to clean out the air conditioner on that note. The filter's probably all sorts of messed up. All right, she's drawing. So again, she feels like she has this remote server, and I do think if there's a Giordano in there, or let alone a Managarm, like it's hard for us to deal with that because it costs us an additional 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and we are out of pinholes. So this is where you need the Levy AR lab access. So that was the DBS because she trashed. So that's probably a Spin Doctor, Rashida, or literally an agenda. So we have to go somewhere. If we install the turbine, this becomes 3 strength. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 to break this. Then she feels like she has to res the Giordano. That cost her 3. She's down to 5. I feel like that's not a great trade. Unless we overclock it. If we overclock it, I'm pretty sure we steal an agenda. If we don't, though, absolutely ruinous. Do we draw once? This always happens. We could have saved some credits on that with this simul-chip. So now 3 strength Bugalter. Again, unfortunately, 5 strength Toll Booth doesn't line up well with Ngolo. It doesn't also save us on the, the Gatekeeper we're expecting on Archives. It just doesn't do that much. We do save money breaking specifically Meridian, but I think that's the only ice that we actually save money with the install, besides the tier so far that we've seen. I'm expecting something huge, though, like a Fairchild 3. I think we need to make her spend money here. I think that's a Rashida, and she's likely to score out the, the thing she has in hand. Okay, now we have to pay money for Managarm. That's bad. Might need to watch out for double Seamless. You're right. She has Seamless. Yeah, you're very right. I forgot about that. That's one of the cards we knew. Here, there's math we should have done because we're expecting that to be a Giordano, and we unfortunately spend our clicks in an unoptimal way so that we can't pay 2 clicks to the Giordano. How much is this to paint it? It's 2 plus 2 plus 3? No, it's cheaper not to do that. It's also different when a city with built-in heat in mind, like Vegas or Palm Springs. A ton of activities are indoors during the summer. Yeah, Montreal's not that bad. Like, Montreal does classically get hot. It's not like the UK where, like, they're really not prepped for the heat, from my understanding. But yeah, it's still, like, the more of the season here is cold than hot, so it's not as nice as other places. Yeah, okay, it's a Giordano. So here she could do just still seamless win. Again, if we want to make a successful run here, because we did this to ourselves, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we can't do it. But we made her spend some money. Pay 12? Credit perfect. Do y'all think this is an agenda? I will never financially recover from this. I think that's a Rashida. Def gonna watch the bottom of this one. Yo, Cody, I shouted you out as like an inspiration behind this. Pizza time. I just don't know, though. I need to look what yours is. I don't think we can pay 12 for this. I think that was the original intention for this, and then I got scared by the seamless play. But I think she has maybe 1 seamless here. Yeah, I don't think this is an agenda. Oh, that's important, though. Let's just click for a credit. We've already hit this button, right? And then we can win off of that. I'm kidding, probably not, but we'll see. How many Rashida in the bin? 0. No Spin Doctor, no Rashida. So I think that's actually like a very unlikely to be an agenda. That's the way I see it, at least. Whereas here in Sydney, it's the middle of the winter and 17 and sunny today. Man, I would love it if it was that temperature. You didn't buy my $1,000 pizza in this economy. That's an expensive pizza. F off. You think we should have bought pizza? It was aluminum. Oh, it's a Mega Pre pizza. It's fine. It's fine. We didn't lose the game. It's fine. Ultimately, probably still correct. I wish the air wasn't wet. It is pretty gross. It's pretty gross out here. Humidity was around 85% yesterday. That's more water in the air than my body. I don't understand meteorology. Yeah, no. By mass, the air was 80% water. Yo, Bat, you know, like the bridge down there, like a couple weekends ago when it rained, a car almost got stuck in it because it was a river. It's absolutely wild. I mean, if it isn't a Kawhi, you couldn't steal it because credit perfect. Yeah, we couldn't. So I think here we Maker's Eye and win, or if we whiff, she draws the winning, the 2-1. So here we have to like Maker's Eye and then have 1 shot on R&D, I think. Yeah, it is what it is. So this is a rotatory, but we break it for free. Probably don't res it. My plants have been so happy recently. High humidity. My negligence to my plants has not caught up with me, besides the one that attacked me and embedded itself in my foot. But otherwise, like, yeah, the humidity has been really good for that. There's been some really heavy brief rainfalls. Yeah, I think you know what weekend I'm talking about, but it was like scary for literally 45 minutes. 3 cards, let's go. Big money, big Ikua. Those are unique, right? I still think we trashed this. Well, you hate to see that. I don't think we can afford to trash more cards than this. Okay, we'll trash it. These have been the worst maker's eyes in the history. I can't believe they've been this bad. It's messed up, man. Titanium is a messed up card, and I think in the new meta it's going to be even more messed up. Need a deep dive? I'm not convinced she's on 3 points anymore. I don't think she's on, what's it called? I think she's just on Big Eyes. I don't think she's on agendas. So here we just have to go HQ as often as we can. Now, if this is a gatekeeper, we break it for at least 3 to 4, so we're not allowed to dirty laundry here. So we just have to go HQ to see if she has a 1-pointer in hand. Has such low evasion stats that he can lose a fight to a succulent. It came at me, man. The maker needs glasses. Jeez. There's a ShadowNet episode that ruined this art for me. If you know, you know. Test. We have a really good next click with the Sure Gamble, but like unfortunately here we can't afford to dirty laundry if there's ice res. But I don't think she ice reses. Rototurret, we know that. Meridian, that's news. Let's go in for once more. Is there a fast score possibility from this corp deck? Haven't seen any biotic. There definitely is. Audacity is like the very fast low version. Biotic labor is a possibility, but she doesn't have the credits. So Audacity is the one thing. But just having the 2-1 that you can play, the Elevagao bifurcation is like the biggest threat. Yes, please. Thank you. Lat's been good. Prepaid's fired every single turn it came down. Like literally is Rezzing. Except not actually, but kind of, right? Credit, she doesn't have it. Stock buyback. So she has a spin doctor in hand, right? Yeah. She has a spin doctor. Thanos, you have it. I'm not reading that, but yeah. So this is a gatekeeper on archives. We have some incentive to check archives. But our multi-access has come to an end. So she drew... No, it's Tithonium because we trashed. So the top of the deck is unknown. Yeah, you're right. She has Tithonium. Slipping on the late side. Sophie, how you doing? Oh, DJ Fenris is so good. Imagine we had this such a long time ago. Oh, so good. Last 2 cards, one of them is a deep dive, right? 5 credits, we can break every ice. The problem is she's drawing an unknown card. Hey, Neon Static, how's it going? How's the stream? I watched a bunch of the VOD. Neon Static is doing like live in-person stream stuff on their channel. Yeah, it ain't over. Apparently not. And clicking for credits makes me think maybe she's playing into Biotic. But yeah, we got our friend Steve. So here, we're going to get some extra sick events. We slotted a deep dive. Yeah, we have 1 deep dive, I'm pretty sure. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be absolutely gutted. I'll be honest. I'm going to be totally gutted. Choose 2 cards. Yes, and... okay. Sure Gamble seems like the thing we could do. 2 creatives is fine too, but like, yeah, this is fine. Alright, fam, I'm Crazy Never Story. I met the guy that inspired Steve Cambridge randomly. He was in an apartment making a stew. There's no way any of that makes any sense. Like, you just found a guy who looked like Steve, or did you find the Steve? And how did you know it was a Steve? I'm so buying into your story right now. Okay, so we have a reason not to play the Sure Gamble. We have a reason to pay 7 credits for a single access, as perverse as that is. Stew Cambridge. How did you know it was a stew? You can tell. I'm not going to pay 7 for a single. I'm just not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to click for a credit. If she top decks it, she top decks it. Steve for makers. That's next turn's problem. But yeah, we probably should have done that. Run HQ. Maker's Eye, run archives, deep dive, win. In fact, maybe we should have gone for a dirty laundry there. Oh, fuck. That was the top of the deck. Well, we couldn't interact with that, but like, this seems like an issue. She can still win with the Elevigao. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could have won if we didn't take the negative points at this point in time. All right, so she made money off that. That's good. Thanks, I hate it. Had a blast doing that. Looking forward to maybe getting one more in before Nats. That's really cool. All right, this could be it. We're not threatening Clot. Pulling double SMC was an option too, but like we have one card left in the stack, so like Clot that, I guess. Is this BM? That's a real agenda. So the cool thing here is that she has to respect. Firstly, she drew a lot, but she has to still worry that we're going to get through this in some like messed up way. So that means we probably do win with Maker's Eye into Dip Dive. I'm worried the credits are going to be close. In fact, I don't know if we have to Maker's Eye because there's no 3-pointers in this list. Okay, we're decked out. This prepaid has been really good. Odds of hitting on R&D are good, yeah. Steve, pick up Pinhole. That is really good too. I think my version was flashier. Your version is like reasonable. What do you mean 2 credits? Oh, because it costs 2. Yeah. So we could just pull Pinhole, trash that Giordano, and go back. Yeah, that seems responsible. Wait, Jenkins really has a story? Hold on. I'm going to read that after this. I'm Steve. This sounds like a copy pasta, but I'm really excited for you, and I need to read that. Choose 2 cards from the heap. Okay, so this is really important. If we pick double Pinhole, we can run the remote server. That is a responsible play. Biotic. I feel like that's a problem for us, no matter how you splice it. Boo, Crory, please. This was already a difficult decision for me. You do not make me need to feel worse. Do you think there's border control here? No, I don't know. I used to live in Cambridge, MA. I came home one day and my roommate is making stew with her friend. Hey, meet my friend Steve. Nice to meet you. I'm Steve. Where were you up to? Playing Netrunner, if you've heard of that. Oh, yeah, I'm in that game. Excuse me? Yeah, I'm Steve Cambridge. The guy who designs the game is Damon Stone, right? Yes, that's correct. Continued. What? He's a friend of mine. We used to hang out at dance competitions all the time. That is Damon Stone lore. We hung out one weekend and afterward he texted me. He made a card for me. Apparently I'm a good mid to late game option. $3 pizza. How dare you? Fair price. I'm a good mid to late game option. Yes, you are. What the fuck? Okay. So we lose to border control. We lose to top deck any agenda that's a 3-2. So here, I feel like we have to sure gamble run it, right? On my life that this happened, I swear. That is really sick. How is this stew? I'm a good mid to late game option. You lose to a 3-1. Yeah, we lose to any 3. Anything that says 3 in the top right corner, we lose to it. Heaven forbid it says 2. Macaroni started to be late. I've been told that I'm a good mid to late option too. I think that's a pretty good compliment. Good mid to late option. The stew is good. Steve Cambridge makes a sweet effing stew. Oh man, that's sick. I really hope that is true. Because I'm really into that story. The thing is, like, Steve Cambridge gets dunked on because he's such I don't know. He's kind of a boring card, unfortunately. He's a really good late game option, though. I aspire one day to be good mid to late game option. Yeah. Maybe I'm okay being an early game option, right? Like, if you trash me, because, like, you know, Paladin Puemo goes too hard. That's fine. Like, I get it. But mid-late game is good, too. This is going to be a 3-point agenda, right? I mean, no, don't curse me. It's not Aqua. Oh, sick. She has a Seamless in hand. Unfortunately, here she gets to draw 2 cards. I genuinely think that the makers, I think that play was wrong. I think we should have gone for R&D, because if we steal an agenda, like, she just draws 2 cards. Like, she gained 2 credits, that means she has it. So, like, I don't think that was the right play. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, that was not the right play. I think we had to win off centrals there. Because there's no way she doesn't have it if she didn't draw there. Unless she's messing up. Which, like, she's been playing. Yeah, that's it. Fuck. Yeah, we definitely should have gone on central servers. I think no matter what, that remote server is toasted. Like, we can't deal with that and stop her from winning. So that's right. Yeah, we knew the biotic. Not before Steve choice, but, like, double biotic? Credit perfect double biotic? Good game. I was torn there between the pinhole and just going for makers into deep dive. I think $3 pizza was maybe not right. I think seeing the biotic in hand was importantly there, actually. Yeah, maybe seeing the biotic was more important there. But, like, she was on fast break. We're worried about the 2-1. She's playing big money. I think we could have assumed safely she was on biotic. Obviously, seeing the biotic is after we made our decision with the pinhole. But maybe even with the pinhole, we just still try and do deep dive. Well, no, because there's no 3-pointers in the deck. Yeah. That was rough. Yeah, we saw a lot of cards in R&D and whiffed. Out of 6 cards, you're expecting to see more than 1. I think the agenda density on this deck is probably 1 in 4. 1 in 4.5. Yeah. You can have 2 portions of beef stew, but after you eat it, you can never have it again. Is that like a Steve stew? Oh, I see what you did. I see what you mean. Thanks, you too. That was a good game, though. It was fun. We were in that one. Steve from Cambridge? Yeah, the real Steve. She might have gotten multiple agenda off her multi-draw last turn. Yeah, and imagine, like, we ran there with the Dawkins pass and hit multi-agenda. Like, clearly she had this off-rolled in hand. So there was a chance there we ran HQ, Dawkins pass, hit that one off-rolled office, and then we can pinhole safely. So, like, that's the problem with Steve, is you have to decide Steve's stew before you access. And so we went to the pinhole play. But I think maybe it makes more sense to try and win off centrals. The thing, too, is, like, after we Maker's Eye R&D, like, she probably can't afford to res this ice on R&D because she still is, like, worried that we're going to maybe check server 4 with 12 credits. So she probably doesn't res this. I think it's a bad sentry, so she doesn't anyways. I think it's a drafter. And then we pay 7. We probably pay nothing here, and then we maybe close the game out. I think I know when you're R&D, like, one MIC opener this past weekend, my opponent a finality and it hit 6 points. Ada, good game. The off-rolled was a top deck. Whoa. So you didn't draw off the final sports medal because you knew it was credit perfect, I take it. Oh, that's sick too. That's obviously a bit results oriented than the Maker's Eye would have been good, but yeah, apparently she didn't have it in hand. That's really good to know. I thought by sure you had it in hand if you opted not to draw, but I guess you did the math and you were credit perfect there on the score with the double biotic. Are the old Cambridge decks named after Steve? No, they're named after Cambridge, Massachusetts. The old Cambridge P decks predate Steve Cambridge by probably 5 years, maybe even more, but they're like 2015, I would say, maybe around there. You did technically win off RNDX as you just had -2 points. Hey, this was a remote server. I don't know if we stole any of these from R&D. I don't think we did. We could have pinholed archives to keep the deep dive alive option instead of pinholing HQ, right? Yeah, actually, that would have been even better. Well, it's safer to pinhole HQ, but you're right. There was no reason not to pinhole archives there. And then if, like, well, but if that's the point, why do we pinhole, right? Like, maybe there's some diversion play there, like, so she doesn't know what we're up to. But yeah, I think we know this is a gatekeeper, though, and that genuinely does cost us 4 credits, so probably not. The hard cards. Good game, Ada. That was a fun game. I used to live in Cambridge and go to the shop there. Well, now that I've blown your mind with Steve Stew, I must unfortunately leave to go to bed to work. Excited to see you next stream. Hey, cheers, fat man. This is actually the end of the stream too, so you figured out a good time. On that note, hey, there's no stream next week. There's no stream. We're off on holiday next week. There is no stream, so if you show up on Thursday, there will be no stream here. Go watch all the other cool Netrunner streams that are on throughout the week. Neon Static is streaming, I think, Monday nights. You have Baramu is streaming. Sokka's out on holiday. Obviously, Jeff is streaming on Wednesday. Bridgman streams consistently. I don't know the schedule. If there's anyone I forgot, let me know, and I can add them to the link below. But there's a lot of good stuff out there if you want to watch more Netrunner. I have to catch a majority of the stream another day, bedtime. Yo, Eric, sleep well. That's it. Well, Messi, have fun on holiday. Thank you. Appreciate it. How was Ngolo? Seems not that great with K2CB Turbine. We used it to break toll booths. It wasn't good. It was hard with our MU. I would have played anything else. But we played 2 games with this. One of them was into P Grinder where we just sent it, installed 3 cards. So yeah. Can we get channel links? They will be in the YouTube description because I have to go dig them up. I don't have them on hand, but they'll be there. Have a good week off. Thank you, Kat. All right, in front of my computer and think of you during next week's stream timing, then I guess. Well, hey, if you like have a habit built out where Thursday nights you have to, like, I get it. I've been there. Thanks for the stream. See you next time. Hey, cheers, Ada. Cody later. That's it. We'll have a video up on Sunday. I'm going to edit it up together and get it scheduled. It's about timing structures of the game. We're waiting for Cror's write-up where he critiques it and fixes most of my mistakes. But otherwise, I'm excited for it. It is a long one, so buckle up. Again, we streamed, if you're not familiar, on Sunday. So if you want to find more Netrunner content, we streamed for like 7.5 hours. So if you're hankering to watch some live stream Netrunner stuff too, that's up on the channel. There's more of that to watch than you probably would ever need. Thanks so much for watching. Huge shout out to everyone hanging out in chat. I'm always having a great time. I'm going to pop out for a bit to see my family. I'm going to be in Toronto, play some Netrunner, maybe do some commentary. I'm excited for that. It's been a while since we played in that meta, and that's it. Hey, everyone, I have emergency permission to post a spoiler from Automata Initiative in a live chat here. Pat, you can't say that. Like, those are people now that are like, do I close my phone? How do I ban someone? Cut the feed. All right. Have a good night, y'all.